Okay, so we will do Negeri Sembilan paper 1 in this video. So given that 5p plus 3q, p, 5p minus 3q are 3 consecutive. Consecutive means what? Berturutan. So this, and this, they are berturutan. And they say it's a geometric progression. It means that from here to here, I have to add up a number. Let's call it k. And here to here also, I have to add up the same number, k. Maksudnya 5p minus 3q divide p is equals to p divided by 5p plus 3q. Alright? But they want to express q in terms of p, so I should darab silang. So they're going to be 5p minus 3q bracket 5p plus 3q bracket equals to p times p is p squared. Right? Now we expand 5p times 5p 25p squared. 5p times 3q 15p cubed. And negative 3 times 5 is negative 15 p cubed. And then the last one will be negative 3 times 3q is negative, is negative 9. Q times q is q squared equals to p squared. 15 p cubed minus 15 p cubed, 0. So I can cancel that. So, tinggal apa? 25 p squared minus 9q squared equals p squared. But I want q. So, my q now is negative. I don't like it. So, can I make it positive? How to make it positive? So move to the other side, so it becomes 9q squared, so it becomes positive here. And then the plus p squared, I move to the left hand side, pindah sini, jadi negative. And don't forget, there's a 25p squared here. 25 minus 1 is 24. So 24p squared equals to 9q squared. I continue here. Okay, never mind, I continue here. So it becomes what? Q squared equals to 24p squared over 9. But I want q only. So I should pindah the square, that is square root. What's square root 24? Cannot. 24 is not a perfect square. So I can just write down square root 24. What's square root p squared? It's p. What's square root 9? It's 3. Okay, square root p squared means like this. Alright? So, you know that square root is actually power 1 over 2. So I can potong. So that's why tinggal p only. Alright? Okay, but yeah. So this is the answer. Okay, this is the answer. So, can you still simplify this? Actually, you can. Actually, you can still simplify this. But I think you leave your answer here also good enough already. Okay, but actually you can still simplify. So how you simplify? The square root 24 you can change to sub 6 times sub 4 like this. Okay, and sub 4 is square root 4 is 2. So what you can do is, you can tambah skip here. The final answer will be equals to q. So here will be what? Square root 4 is 2, so it becomes 2 sub 6 and then p over 3. Right? So you can write it like this. Okay? So square root 4 is 2, so 2p times sub 6. Okay, over 3. Okay? So I hope you understand. Next, number 2. Given that both equation x squared plus bx plus q equals to 0, and the other equation is 2x squared minus kx plus h equals 0, and they say that both equations have two equal roots. It means you take the discriminant equals 0. Okay, two equal roots here. Means 1 point. So b squared minus 4ac equals 0. Okay? B squared minus 4ac equals 0. For both lah, because they say both equation, right? So b squared minus 4ac equals 0. Okay, why I kosongkan this baris? Why I leave it empty here? Because I know before no need lah. I can straight away do lah, right? So it will be bracket. So what's the b? The b is p. The a will be 1. The c is q. So p squared minus 4q equals to 0. So I'm already stuck here because there's 2 unknown. We leave it, we go to the next one. So here we'll do the same. B squared minus 4ac equals to 0. The b will be negative k, the a will be 2, the c will be h. Negative k squared is positive k squared. Negative here is negative 8h equals to 0. Okay, what the question wants? Express h plus q in terms of p and k. So they want you to find h plus q. So what I can do? I find q here, and I find h here, and then add together. So how to find q here? negative positive first. Negative 4q pindah jadi positive 4q and p squared. And what's q? P squared over 4. What about here? How to find h? So negative 8h becomes 8h here. So here is k squared. So what is h? K squared over 8. But I want q, h plus q. So h plus q will be what? H will be k squared plus 8. Q will be p squared over what is this? 4. So that's the answer. Alright? Okay, you can cantikkan and make it over 8. So here will be k squared. This one just times 2 lah, so it becomes 2p squared. So that's the answer. Right? Okay, understand? Next, number 3. So number 3, okay, I already started the soalan, right? So, okay, I need some space. I'll erase it. Okay, this is integration. So diagram shows the curve. This is the curve equation. So let's write it down. Y equals 4 over x plus 3 squared. Okay, and then the line PQ, y equals h minus x is the tangent. So the tangent line, the tangent. So I can write down PQ. The equation is y equals h minus x. Okay, we know that the tangent is a straight line, and straight line usually we write our equation in linear form. What's linear form? Y equals mx plus c. So I can write it negative x plus h. Okay, susun supaya dia jadi cantik. And don't forget this is the tangent. The tangent line. PQ is the tangent at P. At P. Okay, tangent at P. So this is the diagram they give you. So this is the curve, and this is the tangent line at P. Excuse me. So find value of k. Can you see that the value of k is the x coordinate of the tangent point? Agree? This is the tangent point line, and the k is actually the x coordinate of the tangent point. So what you do? You already know that PQ is the equation of the tangent line. So I can find out what is the gradient of tangent already. The gradient of tangent will be negative 1, right? So y equals mx plus c, the n is negative 1. So the gradient of tangent is negative 1. Maksudnya dy dx equals to negative 1 when x equals to k. That's what it means, right? Because the x coordinate for p is k. Okay, the y coordinate I don't know lah, but it's okay. It's okay. The y coordinate you can find later. Okay, we don't use it now. So we know at p, so p the x coordinate is k. So what you do here is you do dy dx here, and then substitute the dy dx negative 1 and substitute xk inside here. So how to differentiate this? First of all, x is in the denominator, so you have to naikkan. Becomes 4x plus 3 power negative 2. And then now you differentiate. How you differentiate? The negative 2 the number in front. So it becomes negative 8 here. So x plus 3, power have the minus 1 becomes negative 3. Don't forget to differentiate bracket. Okay, so differentiate bracket is 1. Okay, differentiate x is 1, differentiate 3 is 0. So it will be what? Negative 8 over the power negative 3, I can letak bawah jadi power 3. And then next is what? Dy dx is negative 1, x is k. So I continue here. So it becomes what? So this is dy dx. So it becomes negative 1, the whole dy dx is negative 1 equals to negative 8 over x plus 3 power 3 is k plus 3 power 3. So now can I find k? Yes, I can find k. How to find? First of all, you can terbalikkan these two things. So it becomes k plus 3 power 3 equals to 8. Negative 8 over negative 1 lah, so it's 8, right? Okay, you can terbalikkan this because this one is bahagi jadi darab jadi bahagi lah. So it just switch places, So it becomes what? K plus 3 equals to, okay, negative 8, the other negative 1 is actually just 8 only. And then power 3 will becomes cube root like this. So it becomes k plus 3 equals to 2, k equals to 5. So that will be the answer for A. Okay, what about B? Okay, the B I'll do it here. So I already started the soalan, so you can see what the soalan said. So B is what? Given that the rate of change of y coordinate of point P, rate. So when you see the word rate, mesti over dt. But what about atas here? What I want to write? Look, rate of change of y. So dy dt equals to 16, right? Given that the rate of change of y of coordinate P decreases at 16 units, so equals to 16. But decreases. So you should put a negative here. Comma. Find rate of change of x of point P. So find the rate of change of x. Rate. So over dt here. But this time what you write atas here. Rate of x. Rate of change of x. So dx over dt equals to question mark. Okay. So how to do? I want to find dx dt, and then we have the dy dt. So what I do? So if I want to find dx dt, I can pecahkan jadi dua, right? The bawah sini and bawah sini kena sama, atas sini dengan atas sini kena sama. So maksudnya dia kan jadi macam tu lah. So it will become like this, right? Here and here should be the same, here and here should be the same, here and here should be the same. So that here and here when I potong tinggal dengan this and this, right? So I have to make sure here is dt and here is dx. Do you understand? Okay, I have to make sure here is dt and here is dx. And what about here? Here can be anything. Just make sure they are the same. But what do you think I will put here? What do you think I will put here? Mestilah dy. Betul? Because I have dy dt. So you put dy dt negative 16. Mestilah you put dy here. So put dy here. Alright? So you remember dx dt, which is what I want to find, equals to dx dy. Apa? The one negative first. Dy dt is negative 16. But look. dx dy, look. This one? This one is dy dx, negative 1. So dx dy. Okay, negative dy dx is negative 1. So it is negative 1 over 1 lah. So you terbalikkan je. So dx dy will be what? So you divide 1 over negative 1 lah. Terbalikkan. So it's still negative 1 lah. It's still negative 1. So negative 1. So the answer is 16. Right? So that will be the answer. But since this is a, how to say, rate, so you should write the unit like this. Okay, you should write the unit like this. The unit second. So unit second s minus 1. Okay, so that's how you do it. Alright. So okay, let's continue with question number 4. Okay, I'll erase it. Starting from question number 4, I will not study the soalan. Right? I will not study the soalan. So if you don't have the paper, you can open the link. I will leave it in the description. Okay? So please download the paper first. Okay? Open the link so you can refer to the question. Okay? So you know which paper I'm talking about. But if you are my student, you already have this book. Okay? So yeah, let's continue. Given that the function fx equals to pqx plus 1 power r, the gradient function of fx is, so the gradient function is 24 over qx plus 1 power 2. And then integrate f prime x dx equals to 4qx plus 1 power r. Find the value of q where p, q and r are constants. Okay? So I will not study the soalan anymore. Okay? So if you don't have the paper, you can download the paper first. Okay? You can open the link in the description so you can refer to the question when I do it. Okay, so fx is this. Gradient function is this. Integrate fx is this. Alamak, macam mana? First of all, what's gradient function? Gradient function means after differentiate lah. Okay, gradient function. So when you see the word gradient function means after differentiate. It means if fx is this is f prime x lah. F prime x is 24 over qx plus 1 power 2. That's what it means. So what I can do? This is fx, this is f prime x. But this one is jawapan yang bagi punya. So what I can do is I can do my own version of f prime x and then compare my own f prime x with the one yang jawapan bagi, yang soalan bagi. And then we compare them, equate there. But before that, let's do the differentiate here first, right? So we can compare with this later. So let's differentiate. How to differentiate? R letak depan like this, and then qx plus 1 power r minus 1. Don't forget to differentiate bracket. So differentiate bracket sekali. So dapat q. Because differentiate qx is q, differentiate 1 is 0, right? And then nampak tak the q and the pr I can darab. So what is r RP darab Q is RPQ. Or you can also write PQR lah, sama saja. So QX plus 1 power R minus 1. This is what? F prime X. This is what? Also F prime X. So this and this, same. So what I can do is these two things I can equal together. So PQR bracket QX plus 1 power R minus 1 equals to 24. Alright. The QX plus 1 power 2 is at the denominator. Is berada di bawah. But can you see this one is dekat atas? So what do you think I'll do? I'll naikkan also. Okay, I'll naikkan also. So I can compare later. Right? So I can compare later. So I will naikkan becomes negative 2. So you see, now you can compare. Right? QX plus 1, QX plus 1. And then R minus 1 equals to what? Negative 2. And then PQR equals to what? 24. Do you understand? I repeat again. QX plus 1 and QX plus 1. Right? And then 24 equals to PQR. And then R minus 1 equals to negative 2. So, here memang tak boleh buat. Because there's 3 unknown. 3 unknown. Macam mana you pindah pun, you start with 3 unknown. So, just leave it. But here you can do. Because R is negative 2 plus 1. So, it's negative 1. So, easily the R I can put it inside here. So, because PQ bracket negative 1 equals to 24. So, negative PQ equals to 24. But what the soalan want you to find? The soalan, if you look at carefully, they want you to find value of Q, right? Is it? Yeah, find value of Q. So, how to find value of Q? This is value of R. So, if you want to find value of Q, I need to sambung from here. But, how? Don't forget there's one more information that you never use yet. Like this information, kita tak sentuh, kita masih belum sentuh, right? So, use this to help us. Integrate f prime x dx equals to 4qx plus 1r. I already said this f prime maksud dia differentiate. Okay? This f prime is just differentiate. Okay? Sama saja maksud dia. So dx equals to 4qx plus 1 power r. What is integrate? Okay. Differentiate fx and then integrate. What do you think will happen? It means pindah dengan fx saja lah. You faham maksud saya? Differentiate fx and then integrate. So you dapat balik fx lah. Okay? Or the other way of explaining it is you pindah the integrate to the other side. Right? So it becomes what? So it becomes f prime x here. So it becomes f prime x and then you pindah the whole integrate here. It becomes differentiate. 4qx plus 1 power r. Faham tak? Because differentiate you can pindah. And differentiate pindah jadi integrate. Integrate pindah jadi differentiate. So it becomes like this. Okay? And then what? F prime x, isn't it this one? So what you can do? F prime x. So here you can divide the x lah. So 4r qx plus 1 power r minus 1 q here. So it becomes 4qr qx plus 1 power r minus 1. Betul? And the f prime x here, you can take either one of these lah. You can take this also can. You can take this also can. But I'll take this lah. Alright? I'll take this one. So it becomes what? 24 over qx plus 1 power negative 2. Right? And I will move it up. It becomes 24 qx plus 1 power negative 2. And then I start to compare, right? But if you compare, will you get the answer? Yes, you get the answer. Because qx plus 1 compared with qx plus 1, r minus 1 is negative 2. So r is negative 1, but we already know that it's useless. I want q. So actually this one tak buat. We just take 24 equals to 4qr. So it becomes what? 24 equals to 4q, the r you already know is negative 1. So just put in negative 1. So it will be negative 4q equals to 24. The q is negative 6. Okay? But sebenarnya this method is a lot more complicated. Sebenarnya when you see the word integrate fx dx, this whole thing is just fx lah. Okay? This whole thing is just fx equals to 4qx plus 1r. So actually you don't have to do all of this. Okay? Just remember, differentiate and then integrate means balik kepada asal lah. It means you never do anything lah. Differentiate and then integrate. So differentiate and integrate means fx dx. So if you know this concept, then you can just masuk this thing, fx. Fx is this one, right? So you can just put down the fx, and then write down p qx plus 1 power r. And then you see the p is equals to 4, the r is, okay, the r is what? So, okay, p is equals to 4, p is equals to 4, and then the p is 4, you can also here. So negative 4, q equals to 24, q equals to negative 6. The answer is the same, right? The answer is the same, right? So, can also, okay, you can also do it like this, okay? Sama saja, okay? The answer will be the same, alright? Next question. So, I'll erase. Okay, never mind, I'll erase it. Let's go to the next, number 5. Number 5, they give you a diagram here. So, like this. So, let's read the question together. Again, if you don't have the paper, please, okay, open the link in the description. Okay? Diagram 2 shows the nose cone of a rocket in a parabolic shape. Parabola is actually the name of the curve of a quadratic equation. So, the U shape and the N shape, this shape is called parabola. Okay, so it means that this is in the shape of a quadratic equation, the graph of the quadratic equation. They give you the radius here is 3. The equation of this is y equals ax squared plus 5. And then they say, given that the function of the parabolic shape is y equals ax squared plus 5, the base diameter of this nose is 3. This is the diameter. So what's the radius? 1.5. Right, 1.5. And then find the value of a. So a, you want to find value of a. And then B, you want you to find volume of nose cone. It means the volume of this shape. So how to do? How to approach this question? Okay. So let me erase it. First of all, what chapter? Like soalan ni from which chapter? From integration. Okay, from integration. How I know it? Because we only find volume, right? So what I will do here is how to find value of a. A is here. So they already mentioned that this is a parabola. So you can draw a y-axis and you can draw an x-axis and you draw a parabola. And the maximum point will be 0, 5. Let me explain why. Okay? We know that in quadratic, your equation should be written like this: ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay? Or you can, it's known as general form. The a will tell you the shape of the curve. The b will tell. Okay, you only learn about what the a tells you, but actually the b and c will also tell you something. The c, okay, I'm sure you know this also. The c will tell you the y-intercept. But not many people know about the b. Okay, not many people know what the b tell you. So the b actually will tell you something also. The b will tell you the position of axis of symmetry. So walaupun soalan ni tak tanya, actually you don't need to know everything about this thing to answer this question, but I will still explain it. Okay, because this is a detailed explanation. Okay, detailed explanation video. So I will show you how to determine. If a is positive, your curve will be U shape. Right? If the a is negative, it will be N shape. So the b will tell you the position of axis of symmetry. Let's say your b is 0. Right? Your b is 0. Remember, if your b is 0, the axis of symmetry will be the y-axis. Okay? So the axis of symmetry, the position of the axis of symmetry will be exactly y-axis. It means that what is the x coordinate of the turning point? 0. Okay, this one depends on the y-intercept. And here will be what? 0 also. And the y-coordinate, it depends on the y-intercept. Okay? What about this one? What if your b is bigger than 0? What if your b is bigger than 0? Then it will be on the left of the y-axis. It will be like this. The axis of symmetry will be on the left. Okay? If the b is bigger than 0, the y-axis will be here. It will be on the right. Okay? And here also same. If b is bigger than 0, b is smaller than 0. Okay, this one, if it's an N-shaped curve and the b is bigger than 0, the y-axis will be Sebenarnya awak tak perlu hafal semua. Okay, awak tak perlu hafal semua. You hafal one only, and then you will know this and this already. You know why? Because if you hafal one only, you know that b is bigger than 0. The curve is leaning towards the left, right? It's leaning to the left. So you know this one will be the opposite. If this one the curve leaning to the left, then means this one the curve lean more towards the right, and then this will be the opposite of this. So this will be this y-axis on the right, so y-axis on the left. So you hafal satu, you already know the rest. Okay, but actually this question you only require this thing only. Okay, so again, if the b is 0, the axis of symmetry will be the y-axis. So the x value will be 0, and then y this one depends on the y-intercept. That's why I know here is 0, 5. Because I know the c is 5. Because look carefully, your a you don't know, but the b is 0, and the c is 5. It means the y-intercept is 5. That's why I know this is 0, 5. Okay? And I also know that the axis of symmetry will be the y-axis, because the b is 0. So when b is 0, the axis will be exactly in the middle. Alright? So some extra knowledge. Okay? So I will erase it. Okay, I will erase it. Okay, so they want you to find value of a. So how? Okay, actually you can find here and here also, because the whole thing is 3. So here will be the origin, here will be 1.5, here will be negative 1.5, because the radius is 1.5. So how to find value of a? We already have the equation y equals ax squared plus 5. If I want to find a, I just substitute x and y inside. I just substitute x and y inside. Okay, what point to substitute? You can substitute any point. You just have to make sure that the point yang you masuk ada passes through. Okay, so let's say this 0, 5. Can you masuk? Can, but you will not get the answer because 0 squared is 0, and then later 0 times a is 0. But I want to find a, so don't masuk this one. You can masuk this one or this one. Both also you get the same answer, right? So because they got passes through, so got passes through boleh. So the point is 1.50. So when you masukkan dia apa? Y is 0 because this is y, this is x, so y is 0, and the x is 1.5 squared. Here will be plus 5. So what's 1.5 squared? I think it's 2.25. Okay, you can use your calculator just to make sure. That's 2.25. A, the plus 5 I will move it here, and then you just tekan negative 5 divide answer. So what do you get? Negative 20 over 9. Negative 20 over 9. Alright, so that's the answer. Okay, that's it. Okay, let me erase this. But it's not over yet. There is still part B. Part B, they want you to find volume. So how to find the volume of this shape here? Maybe some of you will say, oh, use the volume of hemisphere. Okay, because this is a hemisphere. But wait, is this a hemisphere? You cannot just assume that it's a hemisphere. They say dia ada mention ke, dia ada bagi tahu ke yang this is a hemisphere. It's not a hemisphere. So what they say that this is a parabolic shape. It's a parabola. So you cannot just use a hemisphere formula. So what you need to do is use integration to find. So the volume is going to be integrate pi something, and then it can be pi x squared dy or integrate pi y squared dx. That's the formula for volume, right? But if you look carefully here, you will use the y-axis. You found kenapa? Because what you are doing is you are taking here, and then you revolve around the y-axis. So you will use which one? This one. So this one we won't use. Okay? Because you use y-axis means here will be dy. Okay, dy, and here will be in terms of y. Okay, here will be in terms of y. Because later you will substitute x inside, and then it will be in terms of y. So what you can do is you masukkan from where to where? 0 to 5, right? So 5 atas, 0 bawah, right? And then you revolve, right? Revolve. So the pi depan, sini tinggal dengan x square dy, and later here will be in terms of y. Okay? So what is x squared? Okay, here y equals ax squared plus 5. But you already know your a is negative 20 over 9, right? Negative 20 over 9. So if I want to find x squared, boleh lah. Just pindah. How to pindah? Negative 20 over 9 x squared. Here is plus 5, negative 5. So x squared will be what? 5 times 9 is 45. So 45 over 20. Divide by 5, 9. Divide by 5, 4. So x squared is 9 over 4. So here is 9 over 4. Okay, kena square lagi ke? Tak payah dah. Because that is actually already x squared. So you just tambah square lagi. Found that because they want x squared. X squared is 9 over 4. If you square it, then it becomes power 4 already. So this is 9 over 4 only. So integrate 9 over 4. This is 9 over 4 y. Okay? So remember this is dy. So it should be in terms of y here. Remember that. Also 5 also 0. So it will be substitute 5 and then substitute 0 minus here. So substitute 5, I think it's 45 over 4. Substitute 0 is 0. So the answer is 45 over 4 pi units cubed. Alright? That should be the answer. Okay, let me check. This one is question 5. So the answer is okay, I think I made a mistake here. So okay, saya buat salah ke? Y equals 20 over 9. So they want to integrate here, right? So from 0 to 5 pi x squared dy, right? So what I do is 5x squared here. Okay, sorry. Ini y sudah hilang. Ayo, apa lah Choon Hau. Sorry. Okay, because I'm doing it spontaneously, it means I'm not looking at the answer when I do it. Okay, so sometimes I will make a careless mistake. Alright, so hope you understand. Okay, because I'm not looking at the answer. Okay, I'm doing it secara spontan. Okay, so here will be y minus 5 actually. Okay, so sorry, I'm wrong really. Okay, so salah already. So I want to find x squared, right? Okay, so this is wrong. Okay, so it should be right. Negative 20 over 9 x squared. Okay, I'll move it here. It becomes positive. So the plus y it should become minus y here. And I'm supposed to find x squared because here I should also x squared. So it becomes x squared equals to times 20 over 9 will become divide. Right? So divide 9 to the times 9. So it becomes 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 5 is 9y, and don't forget to go over 20 right? So the x squared is 45 over 20 minus 9 over 20y. Okay, this is what you should substitute. Okay, so you know what? So 5 to 0 bracket divide. 45 over 20 when you bottom, it becomes 4 here, it becomes 9 here. So it becomes 9 over 4 minus 9 over 20y. Okay, this should be one, right? So next, pi, integrate 9 over 4, so it's 9 over 4y. Integrate this, you 9 over 20, y power 2 over 2. And then 5, 0. And then masuk pi, okay, masuk 5 dulu. 5 times 9, 45 over 4, right? 5 squared is 25 here, 25. So 25, okay, just write 9 over 20, and then 25 over 2. Okay? And then bracket minus with substitute 0. Okay, when you substitute 0 is 0. So it's minus 0. So actually you don't have to write that. So it's pi bracket 45 over 4 minus bottom, right? 20 divided by 5 is 4 here. Divided by 5 is 5 here. So if you have 5 times 9 is 45. Here will be 8 here. Right? So what's 45 over 2 minus 45? Okay, you can use your calculator. So 45 divide 2 minus 45 divide 8. Okay, I did something wrong again. Mana saya salah? Okay. So wait Okay, 45 minus 9y over 20, right? So here is divided by 5, right? 5 is 4, divided by 5 is 9. So minus 9 over 20y. Integrate 9 over 5y, 9 over 20, y power 2 over 2. Okay, that's correct. 5 times 9 is 45. 5 squared is 25 over 2, 9 over 20. So 45, this one is 4 Okay, sorry again. This one 4y suddenly, I become 2 here. So like this okay, so 95, okay, so okay, so and then now what do you take? Okay, now I think it's correct maybe. 45 divide 4 minus 45 divide 8. Okay, so what do you get? 45 over 8 pi units cubed. Okay? Because it's a volume, right? Or you can also write 5 over 625. Okay, can also. Right, that's all. Okay, next question. Okay, I'll erase it. Okay, there's a diagram, so let me draw it first. Okay, so let's continue. Number 6, diagram shows the curve of a quadratic function. Point A and B are on the curve. So A and B are on the curve. And then to say, point A is the y-intercept. This is the y-intercept. So the x should be 0. Okay, and the y will be 6 because this is a straight line. It means that this is 4, this is 6. Okay, here is 6. That's why this is 0, 6. State reason y inverse does not exist. That's the first question. And then B. Inverse exists in a specific domain. And state the domain. Okay, let's do it. So, how to do? Do you remember in the Choon Hau set? I think it's question 22. So, you can refer Choon Hau, paper 1, question 22. Because it's similar to this. Okay? And if you watch my Choon Hau video, you will know about the horizontal line test and the vertical line test. Okay? Okay, what is the horizontal line test and the vertical line test? The horizontal line test is for you to test what? The horizontal line test will help you determine whether it's a one-to-one function. Okay? The horizontal line test will help you determine whether if it's a one-to-one function. The vertical line test will help you determine whether it's a function or not. Okay? That's what it means. Remember, a function it's either one-to-one ataupun many-to-one. Okay? Many-to-many is not considered function. Many-to-one is considered function. One-to-many is also not considered function. Okay? So, how you use the horizontal line test? Let's say I give you a curve like this. Okay? So what you do is you draw horizontal line, If they intersect sekali, it means that this is a one-to-one function. Okay? If they intersect 2 points, it means it's not a one-to-one. It's not a one-to-one. Okay? It might be a one-to-many, it can be a many-to-one or many-to-many. But that one, we don't have to know, right? The horizontal line test will only help you to determine whether it's a one-to-one function or not. And you have to remember this thing here. Only one-to-one function has inverse. So if you test ada satu intersection point saja, it means that it's a one-to-one. If it's a one-to-one, it has inverse. If you test there's a 2 intersection point, it means it's not a one-to-one. If it's not a one-to-one, it means it doesn't have inverse. So look here. State reason why inverse does not exist. So why it does not exist? Because when you do the horizontal line test, there's a two intersection point. And when I say if there's a 2 intersection point, means what? It means it's not a one-to-one. That's why it does not have inverse. So the reason is because it's not a one-to-one. Because how to write this? Because it is not a one-to-one relation. Okay, that should be the answer already. Okay, but what if you want to tambah more to the reason, right? You can tambah actually. How to tambah? Okay, I'll teach you about the vertical line test here. So remember, function there's only 2 types. Okay, it can only be one-to-one or many-to-one. So what you can do, you use the vertical line test to test whether it's a function or not. For example, okay, I'll use the same one. Okay, maybe this one will be like this. So what you do is you test, and then you see how many intersection points. If 1, it means this is a function. It means this is a function. If you test, there's a 2 intersection point, it means it's not a function. It's not a function. Okay? It's not a function. Not a function. Okay, not a function. So, what you can do here is, they say state reason why inverse does not exist. So you already know it doesn't exist because it's not a one-to-one. Because only one-to-one is inverse. And you already do the horizontal line test, there's a 2 intersection point. That is why it's not a one-to-one. That's why it doesn't have inverse. Okay, so if it's not a one-to-one, then what is it? If it's not a one-to-one, then what is it? Is it one to many, or many to many, or many to one, or what? So what you can do is you can do the vertical line test. When you do the vertical line test, you will see that doesn't matter where you draw the vertical line, it will only have 1 intersection point. Because the graph looks like this, right? And it doesn't matter where you draw the vertical line, it will only have 1 intersection point. And if it's a 1 intersection point means what? It means it's a function. And if it's a function, it means that it's either 1 to 1 or many to 1. Is it possible to be 1 to 1? No, because you already conduct the horizontal line test. And you know it's not a 1 to 1, so it's a many to 1. So because it is not a 1 to 1 relation, because it is not a 1 to 1 relation, or you can also write because it is a many to 1 relation. Is it? Yeah, many to 1 relation. Okay, I hope you understand. I hope you understand what I'm explaining here. Okay, it means that you can write this as your answer, or you can also write this as your answer. Both are accepted. Okay, but or you want to write both also. Okay, you can write because it is not a 1 to 1 relation, and then detail, and then you say this function is a many to 1 relation. Okay, actually you just write one of this is enough already. So I hope you understand what the horizontal line test and the vertical line test. Okay, please refer back to this question if you want to be, if you're not so sure whether you understand or not. Go back to this question. Go back to the Choon Hau video. Go to question 22. Okay, I think it's 22. Yeah, it's 22. And then you watch the explanation. I got explained also in the video. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Inverse exists in a specific domain. Hey, what is domain? Domain is X. Just remember this. Domain is X. The X exists. Okay, domain is X exists. And then state the domain. It means that actually inverse exists in this. How to say it? In this function. They say inverse exists. Hey, let's look back here. Only 1 to 1 has inverse. But this is not a 1 to 1. It's a many to 1. You already conduct the 2 tests and you already know it's a many to 1. So why suddenly he said inverse exists? Look carefully. Inverse exists only in a specific domain. Specific domain. Now, you want to understand what it means. Like what is the question trying to tell you here? How you determine whether it has inverse or not? You do the horizontal line test, right? When you do the horizontal line test, semua tempat ke ada 2 intersection point? Bukan. Not all places has 2 intersection point. If you do here, yes, it has 2 intersection point. It means that ada satu garisan yang special yang hanya ada 1 intersection point. That's why they say inverse exists in a specific domain, and that is the special place. That the special line where it only has 1 intersection point, that will be the place. So where is it? It will be here. Do you understand? It means that inverse does not exist because as long as it has 2 intersection point, it's not a 1 to 1. If it's not a 1 to 1, it doesn't have inverse. But in a specific domain, there is inverse. So the specific point, it will be here lah. And what state the domain? It means baca sini lah. The X exists. Okay, X sini berapa? So it will be here, right? This is the only place where it only has 1 intersection point. So inverse exists at this place lah, at this specific point. So you baca bawah sini, berapa sini? Berapa sini? You can find, because can you see this is B46 and then this is 0, this is 4. So it will be in the middle lah. So what is 0 and 4 in the middle is 2. So state the domain. This line will be x equals to 2 lah. Alright, x equals to 2, and that will be the answer. Alright, if you look at the schema jawapan, the schema jawapan, didn't write like this. The schema just write like this. X smaller equal to or x bigger equal to. I'm not quite sure why, right? I'm not quite sure why they write x smaller than 2. Because you know if x smaller than 2, it means this part. How can it be smaller than 2? Because you already know that if x smaller than 2, if you draw here, it will be 2 intersection point. Right? Even if you do x bigger than 2 also, right? Like for example 3. If you draw at 3 the vertical line, you will have 2 intersection points. So I'm not quite sure why they write like this. Okay? But I will stick to my answer. I'll stick to I'll still think that this is the correct answer. So I'll stick to my answer. Okay? So I think the answer will be x equals to 2. And if you look also, they will write smaller or equal. Here also bigger or equal. So whether it's bigger or smaller, okay? So both are equal. So I think I'll stick to my answer and say that the answer will be x equals 2. Okay? But if any of you figure out why is it like that, you can tell me. Okay? But I think that the answer is x equals 2. Okay? Okay, next, number 7. Because it doesn't make any sense, right? Like x smaller than 2 means that it will have two, it will not have inverse. Because they say inverse exists only in a specific place. It's x equals to 2. Right? This place only. The other place all will have 2 intersection points. Alright? So let's move on to number 7. I'll draw the diagram first. Okay, so this is a V shape. It's a V shape. Can you see it looks like a V? So fx equals to modulus 2 minus 3x. Here is P11. Here is x, y, fx. Diagram flow shows the graph function of 2 minus 3x where the range is 0 until P. So this is P11. So from if this is P11 means the point directly down. It means if you direct circle line means P lah. And if you direct circle line means here is 11 lah. Agree? And then what else you can find? What else you can find? They say that this is 2 modulus 2 minus modulus 3x. So actually you can find out here is 2 actually. Okay? Because when you substitute x 0 here, right, the y-intercept is 2. That's how I know. Alright? So that's all. And then what else? They say for the range 0 until p. It means for the x-axis is 0 until p. So this is the range of the x. Okay? So I will write like this one 0 x p. That's the range of x. And then A they want you to find value of p. And then B they want you to find domain when range is greater than 2, is bigger than 2. Okay, I'll just put the book aside. Okay, so how to do this? How to find value of p first of all? Masukkan je lah, right? Just masukkan je. Because this point ada passes through this point, right? So masuk je lah into the equation. So fx equals to modulus 2 minus 3x. Masuk lah. When x equals to p, y equals to 11. But since my y-axis is fx, so we write fx equals to 11. But it's the same one, okay? Y and fx like sama saja, okay? So fx is 11, and then modulus 2 minus 3x. So this is p. So you become 11 equals to 2 minus 3. Okay, so you become modulus 2 minus 3p equals to 11. So how to solve this? You cannot pindah the 2, because the 2 is already locked inside the modulus, and you cannot pindah the 3. So what you do? You cannot pindah the 2, you cannot pindah the 3, you have to pindah the modulus. Okay? So how to pindah the modulus? When you pindah the modulus, there will be 2 answers. One is positive, one is negative. So negative 3p will be 11 minus 2 is 9, p will be 9 divided 3 is negative 3 here. Okay? Is it correct? Yes. And then negative 3p equals to negative 11 minus 2 is negative 13. So p is 13 over 3. Tapi, tengok diagram. P dekat mana? P dekat sini. P is here. So p, which one will be the answer? P is here. Mestilah p awal positif. Betul? 0 is here. 0 is here. So p should be positive. So here is not. So this is the answer. It means that the coordinate for p is what? 13 over 3, 11. So that's the answer. Okay, let's do b here. Okay, b apa dia nak cari? Domain. Domain. This word is familiar, right? Like you saw this word, right? Domain. Domain. And what I said, domain means what? What's domain? Apa maksud domain? Domain means x. Okay, domain means x. Domain means x. If codomain, the y exists. If domain, the x exists. Okay? So domain, when range is bigger than 2, range here maksudnya macam codomain lah. Okay, range means codomain. So this is the y axis, or you can say it's the fx, the fx axis, the vertical axis lah. Okay? So when the range is bigger than 2, where is 2? Here, right? Bigger than 2 ah? Aiyo, bigger than 2 ah? So it's here. Look, it's here. Alright? So how to find this here? It means that this will be the shaded region here. It means the x will be somewhere here to here. So how to find? Okay, dia kan sudah bagi range is bigger than 2. Maksudnya fx bigger than 2 lah. Fx bigger than 2. And your fx is what? Your fx is modulus 2 minus 3x. So modulus 2 minus 3x bigger than 2. Okay, listen carefully. Listen carefully. Modulus 2 minus 3x, kalau saya bagi equals to, macam mana buat? Kalau equals. You pindah the modulus, satu positif, and then satu negatif. And then you proceed. Betul? But if it's an inequality, if I tukar the equal jadi inequality sign like this, you cannot buat macam tu tau. You tak boleh buat macam tu. Sebab kalau dia inequality, cara dia buat lain sikit. Okay? Okay, I'll give you an example here. So, if I give you x plus 1 equals to 3, you will tell me that x plus 1 equals to 3, x plus 1 equals to negative 3. Okay? Which is correct. Okay? And then you find x here. Correct lah, betul. Tapi kalau saya bagi x plus 1 smaller than 3, or modulus x plus 1 bigger than 3 is different. You remember this, Kalau smaller than, dia akan jadi apa? Dia akan jadi x plus 1 smaller than 3x. Sorry. It will become, okay, my bad, sorry. It will become x plus 1 smaller than negative 3 and 3. Okay, if it's a smaller than, this is how we do it. And then it will become x plus 1 jadi minus 1, plus 1 jadi minus 1 like this. If it's a smaller than. But if it's a bigger than, it's different. It will become what? It will become x plus 1 smaller than 3 and x plus 1 bigger than 3. So you get x smaller than 2, x bigger than negative 2. And your answer should be like this, x smaller 2 or x bigger than negative 2. But for this one, this is the answer. Can you see the difference? Can you see the difference? Kalau smaller, this is how we approach. This is how we do it. Kalau bigger, this is how we do it. So can you tell me modulus 2 minus 3x bigger than 2? This one. So how I should do it? I should separate it into 2. So it becomes 2 minus 3x smaller than 2 ataupun 2 minus 3x bigger than 2. Okay? Like this. Okay? So I hope you understand. Alright? So dia kata apa? Negative 3x smaller than 0 and then x smaller than 0. Siap? What about here? So you have 2 minus 3x bigger than 2 and then negative 3x bigger than 0. Oh, wait. Apa ni? Okay, sorry. Negative lah, bro. Okay, I tertinggal negative. Okay, sorry So x plus 1. What's the soalan here? So x plus 1 modulus smaller than 3, right? So it's bigger than. So you have to divide into 2. So the first one will be what? X plus 1 smaller than negative 3, and then the other one will be x plus 1 bigger than 3. So it becomes what? It becomes x smaller than negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4, and then x bigger than 2. So the answer will be x smaller than negative 4 ataupun x bigger than 2. Okay, this is how we do it. Alright, this is how we do it. So ini maksudnya smaller negative, bigger positive. So the same here, smaller negative, bigger positive. So did I do it correctly? So here will not be 0. Okay, let's do it again. Negative 3x smaller than negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. So x is what? 4 over 3. Remember, when you divide negative number, you have to change the sign. So smaller becomes bigger here, right? And then what about here? Negative 3x bigger than 2 minus 2 is 0. And then x is 0, negative 3 is 0. And you divide by negative again. So when you divide by negative, you have to change the sign. It becomes smaller, right? But some of you will think that this is the answer, which is, if you write this as your answer, it's not correct. Okay, it's not correct. Okay, then ask me. Let me erase this. So, okay, tengok sini When the fx bigger than 2, the x is bigger than 4, 3 and x smaller than 0. Apa maksudnya? When the fx is bigger than 2, it means from this line onwards up. The x-axis will be this here, smaller than 0 is here, and then 4 over 3. So telinga here, right? The telinga here sini. So sini kita tak ambil ya, kita cross lah sini. Maksudnya sini kita cross, because they say fx bigger than 2, it means we don't take the below 2 part. So it will be here and here, the telinga saja, right? But the problem is when you draw the graph, when you look at the diagram, they didn't draw this part also. They didn't draw this part. And they already mentioned in the question in the beginning. Okay? In the beginning. In the beginning, okay? In the beginning, they already said what? They already said this curve is what? Fx. Okay, it's from 0 until p only. From 0 until p only. So the graph is only from 0. So there is no this part. It means that it's only here until here only. Maksudnya, it will be x smaller than 4 over 3 means, x bigger than 4 over 3 means this is 4 over 3 sebenarnya. And then x smaller than 0 means here. So, dia sebenarnya maksudnya x smaller than 0 here, this is what we ignore. Because it's not drawn in the diagram. This is what we take, x bigger than 4 over 3. Tapi saya nak tanya, 4 over 3 sampai mana? Sampai forever ke? Sampai mana? We stop until here only. Because the graph is only until p only. And what is p? P is, just now you already find it, P is this one, 13 over 3. Because here is 13 over 3. So you only take 4 over 3 until 13 over 3 only. So the range will be what? The range of x will be bigger than 4 over 3, but in between 13 over 3. It means this part here. Okay, we ignore this part because it's not drawn in the diagram. Right? Sebab dia sudah bagi tahu this graph is only from 0 until p. It means ini saja yang kita tengok. So yang tambah sini kita ignore, right? Maksudnya we already know is either x smaller than 0 or x bigger than 4 over 3. We ignore the x smaller than 0 because it's not drawn, and use this one. And we use this one, we use until p only. Okay, because that is the maximum already. The maximum already. We only draw until here. Okay, hope you understand lah. Okay, I used a very long time to explain this question already. Okay, let's continue. Okay, I'll erase it. Okay, number 7 and number 8. So number 8 is what? Statistic, Okay, let me draw it first. Score, frequency, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 12, n minus 2, 8, 5. Table 1 shows the distribution of score of a group of students in a mathematics quiz. So, A, find the maximum n if mode equals to 4. And then B, n equals to what if median is 3.5. Soalnya ni awak pernah buat dengan saya kan? In class, in normal class. Do you remember awak pernah buat dengan saya? In SPM 2015 question, tak ingat lah berapa. Okay, tak ingat which question lah. Okay, but I do it with you in this book. Okay, in this book. Okay, wait lah, I find. Wait, sekejap Statistic, you can refer to SPM 2015. Question number 20. Okay, question 20. Okay, so please. Okay, soal ni kita sudah buat. Alright. Okay, so A, how to find maximum value of m if mode is 4? Mode is what? Mode means the score with the highest frequency lah. So in this case, which is the score with the highest frequency? This one. They say mode is 4, right? So this is the highest frequency. So what's the maximum value of n? It means that the n minus 2 cannot be, it has to be smaller than or equal 11 lah. Before it means that what? N minus 2 is smaller than or equal to 11. Or you can also write n minus 2 has to be smaller than 12. Like this also can. Okay? Or you can write n minus 2 has to be smaller than 12. Why? Because if here is 12, then there will be the mode already. So it cannot be more than or equal to 12. So here we have n smaller than 11 plus 2 is 13. Here, so the n will be what? The maximum value of n is 13 lah. 13, right? So let's try also 13 here. What's 13 minus 2? 11, so yes. Okay. 11, because 11 is not the class with the highest frequency. So that is the maximum value. What about here? 12 plus 2? 14. you also choose 13 because there is no equal sign. Means apa maksudnya maximum value? Okay, n smaller than 13 means what? Is 13 included? Included. So apa dia? 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, banyak. Tapi you choose the maximum one, so 13. What about here? N smaller than 14. What's smaller than 14? 13, 12, 11, and so on. But you choose the maximum, so it's still 13 lah. So you have two options. Pilih satu. Okay, sama saja lah. Same only. Okay, tak payah buat both lah. Okay, just choose one. Alright, B. B, they want you to find the value of n if the median is 3.5. 3.5. Some of you will say 13. You go and write 13 here, and then you sambung. Okay, itu bukan maksud dia. Please. Ini n dekat sini and n dekat sini lain tau. You cannot use the n from A to do B. No. This one is find value of n jika both equals to 4. This one is find value of n jika median is 3.5. So the n here and the n here is completely different. So you don't tell me the n is 13 and n here also 13. If like this means easy already lah. Then you siap already lah. Okay? Like you already finished the whole question. So tak boleh. So the n is unknown. We don't know. Okay, but they got give you some information. Median is 3.5. What is median? The middle value, right? So we can look here. 5, 8, n minus 2, 2, 3. So where is the middle value? Apa maksudnya score 1 frequency 5? It means 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. 5 kali. What is 2, 8? It means 2, 2, 2. Berapa kali? 8 kali. But I don't have the free time to erase all the numbers. So I will just do 1, 1. Sini ada berapa? 5. 2 and then until the last 2, until the final one, there will be 8. So ada 6 lagi lah. There is 6 more 2s here, but I won't write it. 3 and then 3. Ada berapa? Ada n minus 2. Again your n is not 13 Okay? 4 ada berapa? So 4 ada 2 saja. And then 5 ada 3. So 5. Ada 3. So they say the median is 3.5. Hey, what is 3.5? It means that the middle position should be here, right? Agree? This is the Q2. Q2 means median. Do you agree? Because if the median is here, what is 3 plus 4? 7. When you divide 2, it's 3.5. It means that the median should be in this position. Do you understand? Okay, maybe some of you will say, what if you put the median here, right? If you put the median here, it will be 3. The median won't be 3.5. You found what I'm saying? Because if you put let's say the number is here, it will be 3 plus 3 divided 2. So it will be 3. It will be 3, right? But the median is 3.5. So the median has to be in this position. And that is the only possible position. Tak ada position lain dah. Like all the other position, you will not get 3.5. Sini pun tak ada. There's only one spot only. This is the special spot, which is in between 3 and 4. Maksudnya, if this is the middle position, maksudnya 5 plus 8 plus n minus 2 kena sama dengan 2 plus 3 lah. Kena sama dengan 2 plus 3. Because this is the middle position. So, nombor sini kena sama lah. Like the total frequency here should be the same. So, it will be n equals to 7, negative 6. Betul ke? Saya buat 2 plus 3, 5, 7 minus 5, 2 right? And negative 6. Okay, that's what I said. Okay, let me check the answer. Number 8. Alamak, saya buat salah. Okay, ini 12 lah bro. Ayo, Choon Hau. Okay, ini 12. So, kalau ini 12, okay, ini tak affect lah. Ini tak affect. But ini affect lah. So, ini 12. So, ini 12. So, sini. Okay, 15. Hey, 12 plus 3 is 15. 15 plus 2 is 17. 17 minus 13, 4. Right? Okay, now, next question. So, let's move on. Okay, I'll erase this. Okay. Number 9. Number 9 here, this is linear, right? Okay, so, let me draw the diagram first. Y equals 9 over h power x. Again, I'm doing this spontaneously. It means I'm not looking at the answer. It means my book is like your book. It's empty one. Okay? Like there's no, how to say, there's no working one. Okay? There's no answer one. Okay? So, if I make sometimes you will see me make some careless mistake. Okay? but usually I will correct it lah. Okay, if I tak perasan, I will correct it in the description. Okay, so like in the YouTube video down there, I will put a small, I will correct it there. Okay, okay, double. Let's continue number 9. Diagram 5 shows a graph of function y equals this the equation, and then they say find value of k. Find value of k. Okay, the y-axis is what? Log y base k. Is it? Okay, yes. So find value of k. Macam mana? Log y base k. Okay, this is the equation. Y equals 9 over h power x. But this is not the equation of this straight line here. How I know? Because this straight line equation, this is a straight line. So it should be y equals mx plus c. And the y-axis should be this. The x-axis should be this. What is this? This is definitely not linear form. Because it's not dalam bentuk y equals mx plus c. So how to make this supaya dia jadi dalam bentuk y equals mx plus c? You tambah log. Because the y here should be, it means the y-axis should be this, bukan yang y. So you know you have to tambah log. So when you tambah log on one side, you have to tambah on both sides. And let me tell you something here. When you tambah log, the base, it can be any base. Any base you want. You nak base 10 boleh, base 5 boleh, any base you want. Okay? Okay, usually kita tambah base 10. But this time I will not use base 10. I will use base k. Why? Because your y here should follow the y-axis here. So log y base k lah. Alright? Okay, let's continue. Log y base k. Single log divide, separate log minus. So log 9 base k minus log h base k. Power boleh letak depan. Betul? Now just susun lah, susun. So log y base k equals to, instead of writing negative x log h, I'll write negative log h base k darab dengan x. Sama saja, okay? 3 darab 6, 6 darab 3 sama saja. I just place this one. Why? Because I want it to be y equals mx plus c plus dengan log 9 base k. So now I can see that this is okay, I write it here. I'm sure but so log y base k equals to negative log h base k and then times x plus log 9 base k. This one is 9 or a? This one is 9, right? I think it's 9, right? 9. Okay, and then y equals mx plus c. You see the x-axis is x and then the y-axis is log y. Sudah sama. Maksudnya the gradient is this and then the y-axis is this. Okay, apa soalan nak cari ya? Soalan nak cari k, is it? Okay, soalan nak cari yes, nak cari k. So macam mana nak cari k? Okay, first of all, you can either use the gradient or y-intercept to find. Tapi dia tak bagi gradient. And even if you want to find gradient, you need 2 points. So dia tak bagi, tapi dia ada bagi y-intercept. So I can actually use y-intercept to find. So log 9 base k, this is the y-intercept of the straight line. This is also the y-intercept. So this and this should be the same. So log 9 base k equals to negative 2. And then you do what? You pindah the log base. Log base, when you pindah to the other side, it becomes a number base. So 9 equals to k power negative 2 is 1 over k squared. And then k squared, tukar tempat. Darab, bagi jadi darab dari bagi. So 1 over 9. So k equals to plus minus square root 1 over 9. So it should be plus minus 1 over 3. Okay, let me tell you something extra. Untuk log base dia tak boleh negatif. Okay, untuk log base cannot be negative. So we tak ambil the negative answer. So actually you can just leave it like this. K equals 1 over 3. Okay, because untuk log base tak ada negative. Okay, so that's the answer. That's all. Next, number 10. Number 10 is what? Given the quadratic function is in the form of fx equals to x minus p, x minus q, where q is greater than p. Q is greater than p. Okay, and then express the range of values of x. If range means the answer should be like this, or like this, or like this. Range, right? And then they say what? Express the range of values of x in terms of a and q if fx is bigger than 0. B is if fx smaller than 0. So how to do? Okay, kalau fx bigger than 0, maksudnya x minus p, but bracket x minus q bigger than 0 start to expand. Okay? Okay. Don't expand lah. Why you expand? Okay, I'll show you what students will do. Okay? What I think you will do. So what I think you will do is you will go and expand. Okay, this is the wrong way. So negative qx and then negative px and then plus pq bigger than 0. Alright? Okay, sekarang tanya awak. When you do this thing, what do you call this? It's a ketaksamaan quadratic. Betul? Ketaksamaan. Inequality. It's a quadratic inequality. And when you do quadratic inequality, what do you do? You always draw. Betul? You always lukis. And when you lukis, you need the value here and here. Betul? And then you see whether it's bigger or smaller. Kalau bigger, here. Kalau smaller, here. It means that you tak perlu expand lah. Because even after you expand also later you have to factorize balik to get here and here. So tak payah lah, because they already factorize for you. You already know x equals to p and x equals to q. So you already know when you draw this, you can just draw and you know already it's the p and q because they already factorize for you. Why is it not negative? Because remember when you take it out, it becomes positive. You have to change the sign, right? So it's p and q. But is it correct? Ke standard p sini? QP atau PQ? So is it Q is greater than P, right? So it should be Q here lah, because Q is greater. Okay, bigger than. So you bolehkan sini dengan sini lah. So what's the answer? So the answer will be x smaller than P or x bigger than Q lah. That's the answer. Kalau yang ni, so x minus P, x minus Q smaller than 0. So it become what? Sama lah, bolehkan. Tak payah expand. Okay, so if you say Q is greater than P, no Q here, P here. But this time is smaller than, so you correct sini. So what is the range of x? In between P and Q lah. Kalau you do this macam ni pun salah. Like this also wrong. Okay, like this also wrong. You have to put the small number here. Okay, the small number should be here, and the big number should be here. That's all. Alright. So let me check the answer. Okay. Alright, betul. Okay, number 11. So number 11. So number 11 is what? Okay, I'll draw the curve first. So this is negative u, this is 3u, fx equals negative x plus p squared plus q. Okay, I draw the graph so ugly. This one should be here lah. Right. Okay, boleh lah. Diagram 6 shows the graph of quadratic function. Hey, this is before completing the square or after completing the square? After completing the square, right? After completing the square, because this is already in vertex form, and in vertex form you can button you can button the turning point. And what's the turning point? Negative pq, right? The p when you take out, you have to change the sign. So the maximum point here is negative pq lah. Alright. Okay, and then next, a they want you to equation of axis of symmetry in terms of u. And then B they want what? U equals to 2. And then range of k. Range of k so that fx equals to k has real roots. Okay, I started the soalan lah. Okay, so now we can just focus on answering the question. So how to find the equation of axis of symmetry? Okay, the axis of symmetry will be here. So maybe some of you will say, oh, the x coordinate is negative p, so it's x equals to negative p lah. So it's x equals to negative p. Okay, actually technically you are right. The axis of symmetry is x equals to negative p, but can you see they say in terms of u? So in terms of u means you don't write this lah. Okay, in terms of u. This is in terms of p. So what you do? Take the negative u and 3u, find the midpoint. So negative u plus 3u divided by 2. So it become what? U. Right? Because 3u minus u is 2u. And 3u by 2 is u. So this is the answer. X equals to u. Okay? Okay, next. If u equals to 2. Oh! If u equals to 2, I know a lot of things already. Hey, if u equals to 2, it means this is negative 2, this is 6, and then this is what? If u is 2, it means what? So betul lah. So this will be okay. equals to 2, right? So the turning point here will be negative p, right? So the axis of symmetry will be x equals to u, so x equals to 2 lah. So this one will be 2 lah, right? And this one will be what? Okay, this one the one later. But I know here will be negative x minus 2 squared plus q, and then the q I can find lah. Okay, the q I can find. But the one later. Okay, later. Betul? 6. Yeah, betul. Alright. Okay, next. This one let me erase it. Okay, next. What else? So what else? So they say what? Find the range of values of k such that so that the equation. I already studied that. I already studied here. Why am I still holding the book? Okay, range of k. So that fx equals k has real roots. Remember you do it with me? I think it's in the Kelantan set or Johor set. I forgot already. Okay. Also similar question, right? So real roots means what? If this is the x-axis, then we call this two different roots. So b squared minus 4ac bigger than 0. If like this, we call it two equal roots. Okay? So ataupun one root lah. So b squared minus 4ac equals 0. If like this, we call it no roots. So kalau no roots, b squared minus 4ac smaller than 0. Apa maksudnya has real roots? It means that two equal roots dengan two different roots. It means this one ada one. Itu maksudnya has real roots. It means dia ada roots. Okay? Satu pun kira. It's just this one tak ambil. It means that b squared minus 4ac what? Bigger equals 0. So you spread it like this. Bigger and then underline in the bawah. Okay? That's what it means. I erase this one. So they say what? Fx equals to k has real roots. So fx equals to k. Okay, before you use this formula, you need to write it down. What is fx first? Okay, what is k? Okay, bukannya k is on the right, right? So fx, sini lah fx. Negative x plus p squared. Negative x plus p squared plus q. But I know my p is what? I know this will be negative 2. You know why? Because negative 2 take out baru dapat 2. And you know here is 2. Right? Here is 2. Okay? That's how I know here is 2. And what about q? Q you can find actually because you already know fx equals to negative x minus 2 squared plus q. If I want to find q, I just need x and y connect. There's so many points. You choose a point that I pass through lah. So let's say this is q. Okay, that means you cannot choose that because you don't know. But you know this is 0, 6. Sorry, 6, 0. This is negative 2, 0. So you can choose either one, right? Sebab both pun ada passes through. So you know what? 0 equals negative. Okay, 6 masuk sini. So 6 minus 2 is 4 squared. And then plus q. So it will be negative 16 plus q equals to 0. So q will be 16. Oh, rupanya q is 16. So this is the complete version of the equation. So here will be 16. Okay, boleh faham? And then what do you do? Expand. So negative expand. Okay, x squared minus 4x plus 4. Hey, why you expand? To use this formula. To use b squared minus 4ac. Like this, what is your a? What is your b? What is your c? You cannot tell me, right? So you have to explain it. So jadi general form dulu. And then only you can use this. So how? Dalam masuk negative x squared plus 4x minus 4. Okay, and then plus 16. The plus k just move it lah. Jadi minus k equals 0. Okay, sebab general form, right? So negative x squared plus 4x. 16 minus 4 is 12 minus k equals 0. Okay, now I can masuk dalam formula. Alright, so masuk dalam formula. So b squared minus 4ac bigger equals 0 because they say has real roots. So masuk b, masuk a, masuk c, and then bigger equals 0. So the a will be negative 1 here, the b is 4, the c is 12 minus k. So this must only have b is what? 4. A is what? Negative 1. C is what? 12 minus k. Okay. That's alright. 16. Right? Negative 1 times 4. 4 times 12, 48. 4 times negative k, negative 4k. And then negative 4k is what? 16 plus 48. 64. 64. But when you move there, you want negative 64. And please, please be careful. If it's an inequality, please be careful. Because whenever you divide negative, you have to change the sign. This is still bigger than, but here it will change already. 64 divided by 4 is 16, but here will be changed to smaller than. I hope you know why. Because I divide by a negative number. When you see the inequality sign, please be careful. Okay? Because when it's inequality, cara dia buat lain sikit. Like for example, kalau ada modulus, right? I already show you just now. Okay, ada satu soalan, like how to do. And what if like this? Okay, like this also is different one. It's different with equal one. If equal, I can just write x equals p, x equals q. But if it's a smaller, lain cara dia. Kalau bigger, lain juga cara dia. So you have to be very careful with the inequality sign. Okay? Okay. Done. That's the answer. K smaller 16. Okay. Next, number 12. Given 2 power n is p, 3 power n is q, and then express cube root of 27 power n plus 1 over 4 power n plus 1. And then express this in terms of p and q. Okay, let me erase this. So in terms of p and q, also express this thing here in terms of p and q. This soalan nampak macam sangat complicated, nampak macam sangat susah, tapi sangat senang saja actually. Because if you want to change in terms of p and q, it means that you have to try your best to change this to 2 power n and 3 power n. Do you understand? Because 2 power n is p, 3 power n is q. Okay, so what do you do? Ini base 2, base 3. So, 4 boleh tukar jadi base 2 lah. 4 is what? 2 power 2. So, it's 2 power 2 power n plus 1. Cube root means what? Cube root means 2 power. Cube root means power 1 over 3. So, become what? 2 power, okay, dark. Anyway, times, right? So, if 2 power something is times, so 2n plus 2 here. What is 27 power n plus 1? Okay, sebenarnya 27 boleh juga tukar jadi base yang kecil, which is 3 power 3, right? And then it will become like this already. So it will become what? 3 power 3n plus 3, and then power with 1 over 3. And then 3 power, okay, yang ni boleh times juga. 3n times 1 over 3 is just n, and then here will just 1, and then over 2 power 2n plus 2. Okay? But I already mentioned just now, you have to try your best to change to 2 power n and 3 power n, so that later your answer will be in p or q. But this one is what? 3 power n plus 1. Okay, pecahkan lah. 3 power n times 3 power 1. Okay? Boleh kan? Boleh pecahkan macam tu, right? Kalau base sama dah, the power will be plus. So 3 power n times 3 power 1, you get back here. Okay, sama saja. Okay, yang ni pula you can also do the same. 2 power 2n plus 2. Okay, jadi apa? 2 power 2n times 2 power 2. 2. Okay? Okay. Atas jadi apa? 3 power 1 is 3. And don't forget 3 power n is q lah. What about here? 2 power 2 is 4. But here is 2 power 2n. Can I masuk p? Cannot lah. Of course cannot. Okay, maybe some people will say masuk 2p. Okay, because 2 power n is p. Okay, if 2 power n is p, then what's 2 power 2n? 2p. Salah. Okay, there's no such thing. Okay, 2 power 2n is what? Saya nak tanya awak, yang ini macam mana awak buat tadi? This 2 power what you do? You darabkan. So 2 power n plus 1 you darabkan. So saya tanya kalau 2 power 3 power 2, what's the answer? 2 power 3 times 2 is 6. Can I write it like this? It's the same way. Boleh saya boleh tukar. So 2 power 2n, can I write it like this? Can, right? Because n times 2 is 2n. Because whenever you already change to, when you write it like this, you can substitute 2 power n is p. So the answer is 3q over 4p squared. Bukannya this is the wrong one. Okay? Boleh faham ke? N double adalah 2n lah. Okay? It means if I want 2 power 6, I can write it as, okay, if I want 2 power a b, I can write it as 2 power a power b, or I can write it as 2 power b power a. These all mean the same thing. Okay, they all mean the same thing. So, okay, next, number 13. Let me erase it first. Okay, 13 is what? Given log u square b base m equals to x, comma log v over u base n equals to y. Then, oh, log uv base n. Actually, you should put bracket lah. Okay, but never mind, I'll put bracket. And then express log uv base n in terms of x and y. So they want this. They want to find this. And then it has to be in terms of x and y. Alamak, macam mana nak buat? Okay, let's ignore these two information. Let's do this. So how to continue from here? Single log, this one is time, right? So single log times separate log plus. So it becomes log u base n plus log v base n. Oh yo. So isn't it I have to find what's log u, what's log v, so I can add them together, right? So how to do? Okay, sini lah. Okay, I use the information here to help me lah. So later after I plot sini what, and then I will find out what's my log u and log v, and then I masuk into here. So saya rasa awak kena buat simultaneous. Okay, that's why they give you two information. Okay, I think that later when you do here, you get equation 1, you do here, you get equation 2, and you have to use simultaneous to solve it. And after you solve log u, you have to substitute balik solve log v, and then baru boleh masuk sini. Okay, tak apa, let's do it. Single log times separate divide lah. Separate log single log times separate log plus. Okay, I silap cakap lah. I said divide. So single log times separate log plus. So log u base n, the power boleh put in front, plus log v base n equals to x. Okay, sini boleh buat lagi ya? Tak boleh buat lah. Alright? Boleh buat lagi ke? Tak boleh buat lah. Okay, so sini pula. Okay, single log divide separate log minus. So log v base n minus log u base n equals to y. So this is actually equation 1 lah. Faham ke? And this is your equation 2 lah. So what you do, you can do simultaneous. Okay, how to do simultaneous? You can use substitution or you can also use elimination. Actually, both also can. Okay, both also can. But I will use elimination. Okay, I will use elimination. Okay, why? Because I can see this one log v base n and log v base n is the same already. So I can just letak bawah here, and then log u base n. Okay, that is minus or plus. Okay, minus. And then the minus I will just put it here in front, and then it goes to y. Faham ke class? Here is what? Here is plus. Okay? Actually, you want to use substitution also can. If you use substitution, macam mana? Okay, you can find log v here lah. You can find log v x minus log 2n here and then substitute here. Can also. Okay, so I use elimination. Right? And then what I do is minus. Okay? Because I have to eliminate. Right? Saya nak hapuskan. That's why this method is called penghapusan. Right? You want to hapuskan. So log v and log v kosong lah. Betul tak saya buat? Betul kan? 1. Ya, betul. Right. Okay, 2 minus jadi plus 2 plus 1 is 3. So 3 log u base n. Okay, then kosong. So x minus y. Okay, just anggapkan this sebagai unknown. Okay, just anggapkan this sebagai unknown. So then you can 2a plus a, so 3a lah. And then a minus a, kosong. Okay, okay. So I know that my what? Okay, macam mana nak buat? Log u base n equals to x minus y over 3 lah. Right? So how to find log v base n? I need to substitute back to the original equation lah. So you can either substitute this also can, this also can. Okay, I will substitute here lah. So it becomes what? Log v base n minus log u base n equals to y. And I already know my log u base n is x minus y over 3. So what I can do is I can log v base n equals to, okay, dalam masalah, jadi minus, okay, tak nak dalam masalah, just leave it and then plus. The whole thing, just pindah the whole thing to the right side. So the minus x minus y over 3, just pindah the whole thing jadi plus, like this. Alright, so you can jadi log v base n equals to, okay, ini boleh samakan jadi over 3, so 3y plus x minus y. So it becomes 2y plus x over 3. Okay, so I already know my log v and my log u, so I can masuk into this already lah. So what's my log u? Log u is x minus y over 3. What's my log v? 2y plus x over 3. So when you combine it, it becomes what? X minus y plus 2y plus x. Right? And then x plus x is 2x. Negative 1 plus 2 is minus y over 3. So that's the answer. Hey, why do I have a feeling that I silap what? Betul tak silap? Okay, satu, check. Okay, betul. Okay, 2x. Okay, in the skema jawapan it's plus. X plus x, 2x lah. Ya lah, it's plus lah. Right? X plus x is 2x. Negative 1 plus 2 plus 1. Right? Okay, done. 14. Number 14. What is the question? So the 14 question is what? Oh, give you a graph. This is a histogram. Okay, histogram. So lukis, dan tinggi sikit, dan lagi tinggi, then it's like here. Okay. Time second. So 10.5, this one 13.5, 16.5, 19.5, 21.5. Here is 5. Okay, so I draw up a bit. So here is what? 7, then K. This one is 7. Right? This one is K. This one is K. This one is 7. This one is 12. Frequency. Okay. Diagram 7 shows the histogram of time taken by a group of athletes in 100-meter running event. Hey, what is the 100? Some of you might think the 100 is the 100 is not the total frequency. It's not the total frequency. Okay. Okay. The 100 is just, it's useless. Okay. It's useless. The 100 is nothing. Okay. Okay. A. Given that the 50% of the athletes took less than 17.25 seconds, find value of K. Maksudnya median lah. Median is 17.25 because they say 50%, right? But let's tukar the histogram into the table first, so we can see clearly, right? So, if this is a histogram, what are these values? These are the lower boundary, right? So these are the lower boundary. So 10.5, 13.5, 16.5, 19.5, 21.5. These are the lower boundary. And here I write the time. Here I write the frequency. Here I write the cumulative. Okay? Okay, what is the time? Think. 10.5. So if I put 9 here, betul ke? I want to make sure the lower boundary is 10.5. So I should put 11 lah. 11 until what? Until 13. And then 14 until here plus 3, here also plus 3, 16. Faham ke? Because the lower boundary of this class should be 10.5. So 11 to 13. How I know here is 14? Because 14 plus 13 divided to the lower boundary is 13.5. So here will be what? 17 until, so here plus 3, here also plus 3, so 19. 17 plus 3, 20. 19 plus 3, 22. And 20 plus 3, 23. Here plus 3, 25. Betul kan? Just plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. Okay, betul lah. And you can double check and see whether the lower boundary is 16.5. Yeah, 17 plus 16 divided to, yes. This one is the lower boundary and the lower boundary, yes. This one, I think they sit up to this one. This one is 22.5. Okay, this should be 22.5. It cannot be 21. So you change, you tukar in the book, you tukar jadi 22.5. Okay, the frequency will be 5, it will be K, K, and then 12, and then 7. So this class actually tak guna pun sebenarnya. Okay, this class tak guna pun sebenarnya. So I can just erase it. Okay, what about the cumulative? 5 plus K, 5 plus K plus 12, so 17 plus K, right? And then 17 plus K plus 7, 24 plus K. And then tadi dia kata apa? Soalan, I forgot already. 50% of the athletes took less than, so 50% took less than 17.25 seconds. Find the value of K. It means the first half of the student is first half. It means you find the median, right? Find the median, which is the Q2. Okay? The symbol for median is Q2. This is a group data, so you need the formula L plus N over 2 minus F over Fn times C. What is L? Lower boundary of median class. What is N? Total frequency. This one, cumulative frequency before median class. This one, frequency of median class. This one, size of median class. So can you see that I need the lower boundary of median class. I need the cumulative frequency before median class. I need the frequency of median class. It means that I need to know which one is my median class first. Because if you don't know what's the median class, then how to find the lower boundary of the median class? There's so many lower boundaries to choose from. So which one you want to choose? You want to choose the lower boundary of median class. So which one is the median class? How to know whether? Usually, kalau dia bagi semua frequency dia bagi, like let's say dia bagi 5 and then let's say sini 10 lah. So what you do? You just take all the numbers add together, divide by 2. Contoh, okay, 5 plus 10 plus 12 plus 7. So what is it? 15 plus 7. 32, okay. Okay, here is 15, right? And then here is 13, right? So here is 4 lah, 34, right? And then you divide by 2. And then 17, okay, contoh, 17. Okay, 17 would be 17 over here. And then this is your Q2 class. Contoh, right? That's how you know whether which one is the median class. But this one, they didn't give you the frequency here. So how to do? You cannot do it like this. You cannot take everything plus together divide 2 because everything plus together is 24 plus k. And even if you divide by 2, so how? You don't know what is okay. So which one is the median class? Saya sudah ajar, betul? Dia kan sudah bagi Q2 is equals to 17.25. So untuk soalan jenis yang bagi median nak cari balik lah, right? Nak cari balik. You don't have to. You cannot find out which one is the median class by looking at the table, but you can just take here 17.25 is belong to here. 17.25 belong to here, so this is the median class. Okay, so lower boundary is 16.5. The n over 2 will be 24 plus k over 2 lah. This is the total frequency right, over 2 lah. Minus the big F. Big F is cumulative frequency 4 plus 5 plus k. And then over small f is frequency of class is 12. The size of class is, okay, 11 to 13, 3. The size of class is 3. Remember, the size of class, you can use the formula. What's the formula? Upper boundary minus lower boundary. Okay? The size of class. Okay? So remember this. Okay, how to find the size of class. So you can find out the upper boundary here is 13.5, the lower boundary is 10.5, and then you minus, you get the size of class. Okay. Okay, this whole thing equals to 70.25. Okay? 70.25. So it becomes what? 16.5 plus, ayo, macam mana nak buat ni? Okay, you leave until here jadi 24 plus k over 2 minus 5. Dah nak masuk lah, dia minus k je ni. Okay, tak apalah. I leave it like this first. And then I pindah the 3. So it becomes what? So, use your calculator. 17.25 minus 17.25. You cannot pindah this first, you have to pindah the 16.5 first. So you have to minus 16.5 first. And then what's next? 12? No, 3 first. Divide 3, times 3, then divide 3. And then after divide 3, baru times 12. Times 12, because dia dibagi right? So bahagi jadi dalam, so times 12. Okay, and then you get 3 here. Okay, you get 3 here. And then what happens? What's next? Not over 2. So, sambil samakan ke bawah lah. So times 2, so here also times 2, here also times 2, it becomes what? Negative times 2, it becomes 10 minus 2k. Okay? The reason why I times 2 is because I don't like fraction. Okay, I hate fraction. That's why I always, kalau ada fraction, I always try to samakan. So I don't have to write like over 2 anymore. And I hope you understand why is this minus, because negative plus, when you expand, it becomes minus here. And then times 2 lah. Okay, k minus 2. 1 minus 2 is negative k. Just pindah to the left hand side, k. 24 minus 10 is 14, minus 6 is 8. You can just use your calculator. Okay, you can just use your calculator. And then you will get the same answer. Right? Hope you understand. What's the next question? Next question is soalan B. Soalan B, they say what? 25%. Saya nak tanya. Kalau 50%, you buat median. Kalau 25%, you find But it's not always Q1, you know. Sometimes it's Q3. You have to depend on the Q1 ataupun Q3. The Q1 means that it depends on the question lah. Okay, it depends on the question. So kalau dia nak yang bawah means third quartile, dan atas means Q1. Okay, tak apa, kita baca soalan dulu. 25% of the best performance athletes. So 25% of the best, the top one, the best one, and then will be chosen to enter competition. What is the maximum time they can achieve if they want to be qualified for the training? So maximum time has to be achieved. I think it's minimum lah. It should be minimum, right? Okay, whatever, leave it first. So 25% of the best. Maksudnya apa? Should I find the Q3 or should I find the Q1? You need time now. Time taken to complete the race, to complete the 100-meter race. So you nak pilih the top 25% to join competition. You want to choose somewhere here or somewhere up here. The time the time is smaller lebih bagus, or the time lebih besar lebih bagus. Mestilah you pilih yang cepat. It means you do the Q1 lah. Faham maksud saya? Okay. What I'm trying to say is sometimes you have to understand the question, because I remember there's a question. I think it's Choon Hau paper 1 question 14, question 4. Okay, please refer to the question. When I ask you to refer, please refer. Okay, because you understand it so much better. Okay, you refer to it. So if you look at Choon Hau paper 1 question 4, or you can just watch my Choon Hau video. Lying down, because that one is what? That one I remember is I forgot the question already, but I think it's something like this. This is marks, and then ada marks there, and then frequency there, and then they say award for the top 25%. And then what you do? You find the Q3, right? Because of course you find the Q3 because top 25%. It means the marks means the higher the better lah. The higher means you pilih the Q3. But this one they also want the top 25%, right? The best 25%. But this one we don't do Q3 because top 25% we only take, because this one the marks the bigger the better, right? But this one is the smaller the better. That's why when they say the top 25%, it should be the Q1 or the Q3. So refer to this question and then you will understand what I meant. Okay? Both questions also use the same word, top 25%, top 25%. But this one you have to take Q3. But this one you have to take the Q1, because you have to understand the meaning. Okay? Top 25% mestilah markah yang top, yang paling bagus. You want to choose this for the competition, so you want to choose the one yang faster lah. The one yang faster is lesser time lah. The one yang took lesser time. So you find the Q1, and for the Q1 formula it will be like this lah. Lower boundary of the Q1 task, so Q1 plus 1 over 4n minus f over f of the Q1 times c. Same like this now. You need to know, for this one you need to know the meaning class. So for this one you need to know the Q1 class first. And which one is the Q1 class? The total frequency you only know K is 8. So here is 8. So if this is 8, it means here is 13. If this is 8, this is 25. Right? If this is 8, this is 32. So where is the Q1 class? 32 divided by 4 times 1 over 4. So you get 8. So 8 dekat mana? So it should be this here. Okay? So this is the Q1 class. Sorry, let me erase this. So this is the Q1 class. Okay? So we're taking this one. This is as the Q1 class. Because 8 is somewhere here, right? So 5 means from 1 to 5. Then this one is from 6 to 13. Then it's 14 to 25. Then 26 to 13. Okay? So maksudnya when you pilih 8 means you pilih this one. So 8 is between 6 and 13. So this is the Q1 class. So dia kata apa? Lower boundary 13.5 plus 1 over 4n is 1 over 4 times 3 over 2. 8 minus big F, cumulative frequency before class. What is it? 5. And then over frequency of class 8 times the size size of class same lah. The size of class is always the same one. It's always 3 one. So kira ada answer 8 minus 5 3. 3 times 3 9. 9 divide 8 plus 13.5. So let's start. 9 divide 8 times 13.5. So you should get 15.1875. Alright? Okay, did I press it wrongly? 3 times 3 is 9. Then divide 8 plus 13.5. 14.625. Okay? Okay, next question. Number 15. Okay, let me erase it. So, number 15. What is this? Ayo, this one. Probability, right? This one. Okay, I erase it first. Okay, let's read the question together. Oh, what is this? An online battle game sets a rule that the first player who wins 2 out of 3 battle will be rewarded a steak dinner. Oh, so if you win 2 out of 3 games equals to steak dinner. Okay? It means that you have 3 chances. So if you have 3 chances means what? Let's say you win the first game and you win the second game. What about the third game? You still need to play. No need already lah. Already get steak already. You already win already. It means if you win the first 2 games, you win. You get the steak dinner already. What if you lose the first game and then you win this game? You still have another chance. Okay? And then you get the steak. Ataupun win, lose, win. Can also. Ataupun okay, kalau win-win dia tak payah lah. Like this one, you don't have to, because if you win the first 2, you don't have to pay anymore, right? So it will be win-win only lah. Okay, it means that these are all the conditions you need if you want to get the steak dinner. Okay, so it's either win-win, lose-win-win, or win-lose-win. Ada lagi ke? Tak ada dah, right? Because what if you win, lose-lose? This one tak ada steak lah. You have to win 2 out of 3 baru dapat. So this one tak dapat. Okay, tak dapat. Ataupun lose, win and then lose again. Tak dapat also. You have to win 2 games out of 3. What about lose, lose, win? Tak dapat also. Kalau lose, 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 lagi lah. Okay. Actually, if you lose 2, you don't have a chance already. You play 2 games, if you lose the first 2 games, you don't have to play anymore. Because the final, even if you win this also, it's useless already. Because you have to win 2 out of 3. Okay, tak apa, this one I erase it. Okay. Actually, what the question was, I also haven't read the question. Okay, I just read the first line only. Okay, the probability that the jack wins a battle is 4 or 5. So probability of jack winning, win is 4 or 5. But read carefully. Probability that jack wins a battle if he won the previous battle. And then 4 or 5. And then if he lost, the probability is 3 over 5. The probability of jack winning if he loses the previous game is how much really? I forgot. It's 3 over 5. Okay. Given that the probability jack get a steak dinner is 1/5, so probability of jack getting steak dinner is 151 over 200. So find the probability that jack does not get a steak dinner. That is A, probability jack does not get steak. Okay, and then 1. And then B is what? 1 the first battle. So probability of winning first battle. Okay, this is not how you spell winning. Okay, okay. How to spell winning? Betul kan? Betul lah winning. 151 over 200 and then 1 minus answer. So 0.245, convert that to fraction. 49 over 200. Probability of winning first battle. Okay, how to do this? Just now remember I write down all the sample space? Yeah, you need to do that. So it's either win, 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 lose. Ataupun win, lose, win. Ataupun lose, win, win. Ataupun win, lose, lose. Ini 3 win, so 2 win, so ini 1 win. So lose, win, lose. And then lose, lose, win. And then lose, lose, lose. Ada 8 kan? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Tapi saya kena potong ini. Saya kena potong ini. Saya kena potong ini. Saya kena potong. Kenapa? Because if you win, it means because they say win 2 out of 3, you get the stake, right? It means let's assume you win this already. Then the third game you don't have to play anymore. You found out that if you win the first 2, you don't have to play the third game anymore. It means that the win-win is considered as 1 only. So win-win only, and then you get the stake already. Win, lose, win, you also get the stake, right? Maybe you lose the first game, and then the second game and third game you win. So you get the stake because they say you just have to win 2 out of 3. This one dapat ke? Tak dapat. Because you win the first game, you lose the... Then tak dapat. So tak dapat. This one tak dapat also. This one tak dapat. So this one also tak dapat. Alright? Actually this one lose already. The last game you don't have to play already. Okay? The last game, you no chance already. Okay? So if you lose the first 2 games, no chance already. So they say what? The probability of winning first battle. Macam mana? So what is the probability here? What is the probability of winning first? Okay, tengok sini. Probability of Jack winning if he won the previous battle is 4 over 5. Probability of Jack winning if he loses is 3 over 5. But what about the probability of him winning first? Like this one, because this one is kalau dia win previous is 4 over 5. Kalau dia lose previous, this is 3 over 5. But this one, first game is what? He even not check play, so we don't know. So we call it P. So we just P times the probability of B. Okay, what about this probability? This probability I can take 4 over 5. Founder, because when you play this, you are assuming that you win the first battle. So if you win the first battle, you win the previous, the second one will be 4 over 5. What about this one? Win, lose, win. So the probability of winning first, we don't know. We don't know that. We cannot take 4 over 5 or 3 over 5 because this one is kalau dia ada main previous battle. Okay? So we just call it P. Okay, what about this thing here? The probability, because you have to times here, right? So here you have to take probability of losing. But when you take probability of losing, which one are you taking? You are assuming that he win because he win the previous battle. So if you win the previous battle, the probability of him winning again is 4 over 5. So the probability of him losing will be 1 over 5. Okay? Okay, what about this one? This one is probability of winning, but the previous battle he lose. So if he lose the previous battle, the probability of him winning is 3 over 5. So like this. Okay, next. Okay, what is losing? What is the probability of losing? You cannot ambil dari sini. Because the probability yang dia tulis sini is kalau dia ada main previous battle. It means this is for the second game. Okay? It means for after the first game. This one is after the first game. This is the probability for after the first game. So you cannot take these two to fit in the first one. That's why you see the first one I just write P because I don't know. So what will be the L here? It will be 1 minus P lah. Because just now you already let the probability of winning first jadi P. So the probability of losing first will be 1 minus P. Times with, okay, what about this? Winning, okay, yang ni kita boleh ambil dari sini. But yang mana? Ambil carefully ya. So this one is, you are assuming that he loses the previous battle. So if he loses the previous battle, the probability of him winning is 3 over 5. So win, so 3 over 5. And then this one is also assuming that he win the previous battle. Okay, tadi ini dia lose previous battle, this one. But this one is he win the previous battle. So if he win, so 4 over 5. So 4 over 5. Okay, actually you can continue all the way. But class, dia nak apa? Probability of winning first battle. And don't forget that they already give you the probability of Jack getting stake is 151 over 200. Maksudnya If I want to take probability of that getting state is 151 over 200, it means the probability of this one plus this one plus this one. Because the probability of getting state is only these three only. This one you tak dapat state, this one tak dapat state, this one you tak dapat. Okay? So 4 over 5p plus with 1 over 5, okay, p times 1 over 5 times 3 over 5 plus with 1 minus p, I need to use big bracket. So 1 minus p times 3 over 5 times 4 over 5, the whole, all of this will equals to 151 over 200. Okay, itu maksudnya. Okay, macam mana? Pindah. Kita cari p. Okay, 4p over 5. Sini. 3 over 25p. Right? Atas bawah. Plus. Ini. 3 times 4 is 12. So 12 minus 12p over 25 equals to 151 over 200. So 3 times 4 is 12, 5 times 5 is 25. But the 12 I expand in now. Okay? So this is how you do it. Okay? And then how to do? Samakan the denominator lah. How to samakan? Times 8. Times 8. This one times 40. Okay? So jadi apa? 4 times 40 is 160p. This one times 8 is 24p. This one is times 8 96 minus 96p. This one only times already because it's already over 200. I take this one times 8 because 25 times 8 is 200. Don't right? Yeah. So this one also jadikan 200. So 24, okay, 160 plus 24 minus 96. So 160 plus 24 minus 96. So 88. So here is 88p. And then 151 minus 9.96. 55. So divide 88. 5 over 8. So the p will be 5 over 8. It means that the probability of him winning first battle is 5 over 8. Okay, so that's the answer. Next question, number 16. Ada diagram, so let me draw it. Okay, A, B. Siap. Okay. The diagram here shows a straight line AB with the distribution of negative 3x over A plus 6y over B equals to 3. Hey, this is not intercept form. Even though it looks like intercept form, it's not intercept form. Because intercept form is like this. X over x intercept plus y over y intercept and 1j equals to 1. This is not intercept form. Like this one equals to 3. Okay? So we can change it to intercept form. How to change? Divide 3, divide 3, divide 3. So it becomes what? Potong-potong negative x over A. And then potong-potong 2y over B. And then potong-potong jadi 1. And what you do is you make sure there's only x and y in the atas. Okay? So negative A. The negative you can just put it down. Actually you suka je nak tulis atas pun boleh, bawah pun boleh. But you don't tulis both. Then you can either letak atas boleh, letak bawah boleh. So you can choose to letak bawah. And then what is your y? When you letak 2 over b, when you turun bawah, dia akan terbalik. Dia akan jadi b over 2. It means that the x-intercept is what? The x-intercept is a lah, negative a lah. And then the y-intercept is what? Is b over 2. Okay, b over 2. This is how you do it. And if you look carefully here, they already give a and b. So what is the connect for a? A is the x-intercept, right? So it should be negative a0 lah. Then what's the connect for b? B is the y-intercept, so it's 0b over 2 lah. Right? Hey, actually what the question was? I just read the first line only and then I write all of this already. Okay, the point A lies on x-axis, point B lies on y-axis. Okay, I already find out what point A and B. And then express the area of triangle OAB. So area of triangle OAB. So area. How to find area? So you learn in coordinate geometry, right? The area is 1 over 2 modulus. Just masuk everything into it. So what's point A? Negative A0. What's point B? 0b over 2. What's point O? kosong. So 1 over 2 modulus, so you can start with 0, 0, then negative A 0, then 0 B over 2. And then don't forget, before you close the modulus, you have to repeat the first one. So 1 over 2, darah silang you always have to start here. 0 times 0, 0, tak payah tulis. Negative A times 2, negative AB over 2. And then 0 times 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, semua 0, tak payah tulis. So 1 over 2, when you modulus, it becomes positive AB over 2. So the answer is AB over 4 units squared. Okay, there's other method yang lebih cepat. Okay, which is you can also take 1 over 2 times base times height. Because the base is A, and the base is A, and then the height is B over 2. So you get the same answer also. Okay, stop worrying. But just be careful lah. When you take 1 over 2 times base times height, the base you don't ambil negative A. Because we ambil panjang dia, so panjang dia is A, bukannya negatif. Panjang tak ada negatif. Okay, panjang tak ada negatif. So, yeah, can also. Okay, you want to do it like this, can also. Siap, 17. Okay, this one is vector. So A equals to 12 lambda minus 4. And then B equals to 6, 13. If A is parallel to B, find value of lambda. So ada dua cara, betul? Remember ada dua cara. First cara is we tambah satu unknown sini. Okay, you can tambah K or anything lah, or M or lambda. Okay, you cannot use lambda because we already have lambda. So you can use this method. Ataupun because you know A is 12i plus lambda minus 4j, and then B is 6i plus 13j. Okay, so what you do is you can take the coefficient and then bahagi. You can either take atas bahagi bawah or bawah bahagi atas, it's up to you. So 12 divided 6 equals to lambda minus 4 over 13. Okay, I choose to take atas bahagi bawah because I know my lambda is atas. Okay, so the lambda minus 4 is lambda. Okay, 13 times 12 or 6. This is the question. 13 times 12 divided 6, 26. So lambda equals to 30 here. So that's the answer. But if you want to use the tambah unknown also can. So if you tambah unknown jadi apa? A equals to KB, and then K, and then masuklah 12 lambda minus 4, B is 6, 13, and then 12, and here is lambda minus 4 equals to 6K, 13K, and then 6K, atas sama dengan atas, bawah sama dengan bawah. Okay, 12 equals to 6K, lambda minus 4 equals to 13K, and then K equals to 2, and then lambda minus 4 equals to 13 times 2, and then lambda equals to 30. Can also. Okay, salin satu saja lah. Okay, tak payah salin dua. Okay. It means that you can pilih satu, right? You want to do it like this can also, you want to do it like tambah unknown boleh juga. Number 18 is what? Where's the book? Okay. Number 18 is ada diagram, so saya gonna choose 18. So there's a triangle here. Looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh triangle. Okay. You all go watch Yu-Gi-Oh. Mesti tak tengok lah, okay? Yang ada tengok tahu lah. Okay, so this one TRS, alpha. Okay, and the Yu-Gi-Oh triangle lah, there's an I in the bottom here, Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay. Okay, so diagram shows three identical sector. Hey, what's identical? Congruent. Identical means sama. The sector is same size. And then they say what? CST inside the equilateral triangle. Oh, equilateral. Kalau equilateral maksudnya 60 lah. And the panjang also the same lah. Right? And then they say the AB is 2 square root P. So sini 2 square root P. Maksudnya half of it is square root P. Ini square root P. The whole thing is 2 square root P. Because equilateral itu semua sama. That means here is alpha, here is alpha lah. And you know alpha is 60 already. Okay? Find the value of alpha in terms of pi. So, find the value of alpha in terms of pi. So how? Alpha in terms of pi. So, macam mana? Oh, ada shaded region sini. Okay, so you know alpha is 60. How you get 60? 180 divided 3. So it's 60, right? But I won't do it like this because I know 180 in radian is pi, so I'll just pi with 3 inside. Faham ke? Okay, ataupun you nak buat dalam 60 boleh juga. Okay, you write 60, then you have to darab and then pi or 180. Okay, can also you get the same answer also. Okay. Okay, D. Express the area of shaded region. Oh, area of shaded region. So it means that they want the area of this of the eye the Yu-Gi-Oh eye. Okay, area of shaded region. So area of shaded region. How to find area of shaded region? It means here. How to find? So how to find area of shaded region? Area of triangle minus with what? Minus with this and this So minus with the sector, right? But there is 3 sectors, and all 3 sectors are same size, right? So it's just 3 times, right? Okay, you have the panjang here is 2 square root p. The panjang here is 2 square root p, and 60 here. So you can use the 1/2 AB sin C formula. So 1/2 times A, which is 2 square root p, and then times B, which is 2 square root p, and then times sin 60. This is the formula for triangle. Minus with 3 times. The area of sector is 1/2 r squared theta. So you need the radius. What's the radius? Square root p. And what's the theta? In radian, pi over 3. Because area of sector. Every sector formula mesti guna dalam radian. So 3 times 1/2 r squared theta. So square root p squared. Then theta is pi over 3. Okay, I should use a big bracket. Okay, what is 2 and 2 potong, right? And then 2 square root p times square root p is just 2p. Sin 60 is macam mana? Okay, first of all, square root p times 2 square root p maksudnya like this, right? And you know that square root p times square root p is p. Why? Because square root means power 1/2. And you know ini hubungan dia darab. So darab bila base sama, the power will plus. What is 1/2 plus 1/2? So 1, so it's 2p. No problem. But the problem is sin 60. If you tekan calculator, I think you get like decimal point, right? So I think you can, because they want the answer in terms of p. Betul? Jawapan kena in terms of p, right? In terms of p. So sebenarnya if you write decimal, dia nampak tak kemas lah. Dia dapat tak kemas. So actually you can just write it sub 3/2 like this. Okay, in fraction. Because you remember you learned in triangle, sin 60 is actually sub 3/2. Minus 3 and 3 potong like this lah. Okay? And then pi ni nak tekan ke? Tak perlu ke? Tak payah ke? They didn't say in terms of pi, but just leave it lah. So jadi apa? 5/2. Sekejap. Ini 5 ke apa? Square root lah. This one is not 5. This is square root. So square root and the square cancel each other already. So it becomes p times pi over 2 lah. So p pi over 2 lah. Boleh ke? So actually this bracket don't need to write also can. So sampai sini macam mana? Over 2. So I can gabungkan. So it becomes 2p sub 3 minus p pi. Siap lah? Siap already? Finish already? You want to stop here? Can also. But actually, you can still simplify lah. But you stop here is good enough already. So how to simplify? You take the p out lah. If I take the p out, so it becomes like 2 sub 3 minus pi over 2. Can also. But I think you stop here is good enough already. Okay, so that's the answer. So number 18 sudah siap. Now the next one will be number 19. Given the cotangent A is n, the cosec A is n, and then 0A is 2. Okay, A is in between 0 and 2 height. Express, you need to find cos A, and then B is sin. Sini ada square sini ya. Oh you know, macam mana nak buat? Ayo, how to do? Remember, you all always cannot do this kind of question is because why you know? It's because you all tak lukis. Okay? It's because you all tak lukis. You mesti lukis, remember. When you see this question out, mesti first thing you do is you have to lukis. Even in the previous video also I say the same thing. When I do triangle, I will say, nampak sebelah sini, awak mesti lukis. Lukis, and then tengok quadrant, tengok which quadrant dulu. Okay, so is it cotangent A is M, cosec A is N, and then 0, A, 2, 5. So this is all 4 quadrant lah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, kalau macam tu you just draw in quadrant 1. Okay, quadrant 1. But not always they will give like this one. Sometimes they give like how to say, like bigger than pi, and then here pi over 2. Then you know it's quadrant. This one is 90, 180. So you know this one is quadrant 2 lah. Contoh. But they give like this, you just draw in quadrant 1. Okay, so quadrant 1. It means all positive. All your answers come out will be positive. If quadrant 2, sign positive. Tangent positive, cos positive. But this one all positive. So cotangent A is M. So let's assume this is our A here lah. Cotangent is M. Cotangent means what? If tangent is opposite of adjacent, if cotangent adjacent or opposite can also lah, but don't do it like this lah. Okay, you just make yourself confused only. Just change to tangent lah. Just change to tangent because one cotangent is 1 over tangent. So if you terbalikkan here also terbalikkan. So you have tangent A equals to M lah. M over 1 lah. So it means this is the opposite, this is the adjacent lah. So the opposite is M. Okay, opposite M. Adjacent is 1. Okay, 1. Done. Okay, what about the other one? Cosec 1 over sine. So 1 over sine is N. So what is sine? Terbalikkan sini. Terbalikkan sini. Okay, I remember I saw one student actually a lot of students do it like this. Like they go and do something like this. Okay, and this is wrong. This is wrong. Okay, but I remember seeing students do this kind of mistake. Like they thought 1 over sine is sine because there's no such thing. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. Okay, so actually you can terbalikkan. Right, so it becomes n 1 over m. Ini apa lah? Silap. Sorry. M over 1 terbalik is 1 over m already lah. Okay, sorry. So opposite is 1. Right, addition is m. Okay, sorry, silap. So this one n over 1 terbalik is 1 over m. So this one opposite of hypotenuse. So the O is still 1. Okay, betul lah. Hypotenuse is m. Oh, okay, macam tu. Okay, now we can, after we draw, we can do A now. Remember, always draw. Always draw. You all cannot do because you all tak lukis. You all just tengok sini, and then you tengok cos A, and then you blank already. Don't know what to do. Right? So how to find cos? Addition our hypotenuse. So addition is m. Hypotenuse is m. So, done already. Okay, B. Sine square A over 2. Okay, how to do? How to do sine square A over 2? Okay, I asked you to memorize. You got memorized or not? Basic identity. So ada 3. Sine square plus cos square equals to 1. And then 1 plus tangent square equals to sec square. And then 1 plus cotangent square equals to cosec square. And then double angle. Sine 2a is 2 sine a cos a. And then cos 2a ada 3. So it's cos square minus sine square. Ataupun 1 minus 2 sine square. Ataupun 2 cos square minus 1. Tangent 2 tangent A over 1 minus tangent square A. Okay, it's given in the formula, right? If you look at your book, so dia ada bagikan. Okay, where is it? Wait let me find it. Okay, sini. So that's the formula, right? Betul kan saya tulis? Betul? Right? Okay, so now, how to do this? Sine square A over 2. Ada ke sine square yang boleh tukar jadi sine square over 2? Ada tak sine square A over 2 dekat sini? Tak ada, betul? Tak ada. This one sine 2A. This one sine square A over 2. So, macam mana? How to do? Pernah tak saya cakap kalau you double angle if sine 2A is 2 sine A cos A, what is sine A? The 2A actually will change to A. So it becomes what? 2 sine A over 2 cos A over 2. Okay, it means that you don't have to memorize this one. You memorize this one, you already know this one already. Okay, you sign to A here, change to A. And some of you will make this mistake, right? You go and take the 2 also, you go and divide 2. Because you go and take 2 divide 2 and it becomes 1 here. And that is also wrong. Only the angle divide 2. So 2A jadi A means divide 2. So kalau sini 2, sini 1. Kalau sini 1, sini half. Okay? Here 2, here. If here is 2A, here is A. Here is A, here is half. But the 2 you don't divide by 2. The 2 is still there. You are only changing the angle. What about cos A? So you know cos square A over 2 minus sin square A over 2 lah. And then you don't go and take 1 and then 1 over 2 the 1 is still same. The minus 2 is still same. You only change the angle only. Jadi A over 2 like this. And then 2 cos square and then A over 2. Because this is for cos 2A. This is for cos A. So the 2A, the angle I divide 2, the angle here also I divide 2. But not the number. The number this one no need divide 2. So it's like this. Okay. Why I do it like this? Tengok sini. Sin square A over 2. Betul? Okay. So macam mana buat? Cos A sama dengan 1 minus 2 sin square A over 2 lah. Use this lah. This formula lah. And then what you do? You start to move lah. So how to move? Okay, cos A you already know is m over n. So m over n equals to 1 minus 2 sin square A over 2. So negative. I want to find this, but it's negative, so I don't like it. So how to change it to positive? Move it here. So you have 2 sin square A over 2 equals to 1 minus m over n. This one plus, then minus. So what is sin square A over 2? So divide 2, so 1 over 2, divide 2, n over 2n. So you can also cantikkan dari darab n sini lah, darab n sini. So it becomes n minus n over 2mn. Okay, this one is m mn. Alright, so you understand? Okay, next question. Ini 2 times n, 2n saja lah. Sorry. Okay, 2 times n, 2n. Okay, ganti. Okay, let me draw. Okay, this diagram looks macam sangat susah tapi senang saja, trust me. Okay, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Then x. Okay, R S Q. Okay, y. Then the equation of curve y squared equals 36 minus 12x. Okay. Hey, make sure when you're watching this, like you have your question in front of you. Okay? You're looking at the question. Because I won't sign the whole soalan, I only draw the diagram only. So make sure but when you're watching, you have the sign, so you can refer to it. If you don't have, you download the link. Okay? You open the link. Maybe because you're outside, right? And you don't have the book with you, so you open the link. I will put the link in the description. Diagram 10 shows the curve. This one is the curve equation. Then minus 12x. And then intersects x-axis at point Q. Oh, you know. Intersects x-axis. This is the x-intercept. So you just put y0 lah. So you will get 3 here. Because if you put 0 here, 12x is 36. X equals 3. So this is 3. And then y-axis at point P. Okay, this one is point P and point S is the y-intercept. So you put x equals 0. So if x equals 0, what's y? Y squared is 36, so y is square root of 36. So it's 6 and negative 6. So 6 here, and then the point S will be negative 6 here. Alright? And then straight line QR is perpendicular to straight line PQ. So QR is perpendicular to PQ. QR. So it's like here. It means that PQ is perpendicular with QR. Intersects the curve at point R. So point R is the intersection point. What? QR is perpendicular, intersects. Oh, okay. It means the line QR intersects. Okay. And then find coordinates of point R. So point R. Okay. I'll put the book aside. So itu saja info yang dia bagi. Ini saja. That's the only info they give you. Okay. Okay, so nothing already. You don't have to look at the book anymore. So it's all in the whiteboard. So what you need to do here? This one is 0, 6. This one is 0, negative 6. This one is 3, 0. So dia nak cari point R. Saya nak tanya, point R macam mana nak cari? Can you see point R is the intersection point of the line QR and the curve. Okay? So what you do? You take the curve straight line. You take the curve equation and the straight line equation. These two equations you do simultaneous, right? Because you want to find the intersection point. And when you do simultaneous, you get two answers. Why I know there's two answers? Because there's two intersection points. But you don't take the one with 3. Because you get two answers, one of the answers will be 3. Okay? How I know? Because this is 3, 0. Okay? And you don't take the one. Because what I want is point R. Can you see, even before I do, I already know what will I get, like what I will get later. So you should be, okay, it should be like that, right? It should be like that. Okay, when you duduk dekat dewan SPM, you sebelum buat soalan, you haven't start doing it, you should already know. Okay, you already expect it. So kalau you nak buat simultaneous, you kena ada equation lah, both equation. So the curve equation is what? Y square equals 36 minus 12x. But the straight line equation tak ada. Macam mana? Tak ada kan? So you have to find the QR equation lah. So to find the QR equation, you can use the y equals mx plus c formula. But in Addmaths, usually you use this formula. Y minus y equals the gradient x minus x. And for the y and x, you use the point that passes through. So q and r, I know the passes through 3, 0. So I can masuk. Here is masuk 0, here is masuk 3. Cannot put it 0, negative 6. The s tak sentuh pun. The s tak passes through. The s is a point on the curve. The s is like here. It's not on the line. So this is the only way. This is the only point you can use. What about the gradient? How to find the gradient of QR? Kalau nak cari gradient, kena ada 2 point. At least 2 point to find the gradient. Ada ke 2 point? Ayo, tak ada lah. Saya hanya ada q saja, 3, 0. R tak ada. You cannot use s because s is not on the line. So you only have this point only. So how to find? Don't forget they say PQ is perpendicular to QR. Walaupun QR punya gradient cannot find, you can find PQ gradient. And then terbalikkan tukar tanda. Betul? Okay, gradient of PQ. 6 minus 0 over 0 minus 3. So negative 2. But this is gradient of PQ. So what is gradient of QR? 1 over 2. Right? Just terbalikkan tukar tanda. This one 2 over 1. So 2 over 1 jadi 1 over 2. Tukar tanda negatif jadi positif. Why? Because perpendicular, right? So when you take this thing, negative 2 times 1 over 2, you get negative 1. Okay? Because perpendicular maksudnya the gradient times to get negative 1. And then the 1 over 2 you masuk here. So jadi apa? Y minus 0 is y equals to gradient. Jangan silap masuk 1 over 2. And then x minus 3. So the answer is y equals 1 over 2x minus 6. Sekejap. Belum lagi kan? Saya nak jadi point R. So now we already know the equation of straight line is y equals 1 over 2 minus x minus 6. So this and this you have to do simultaneous. How you do? You can either use substitution or elimination. I will use substitution lah, because I already see this one y equals to 8. So you terus y square equals to 26 minus 12x, and the y terus masuk into here. So 1 over 2x minus 6. Betul? Betul saya buat? Betul? 1 over 2x square. Ayo, macam mana? Ini maksudnya x over 2 lah. Minus 6, x over 2 minus 6. Ini maksudnya equals to 36 minus 12x. So jadi apa? X over 2 times x over 2. Atas bawah dalam bawah. So x square over 4. Bisa? Negative 6x over 2. So negative 3x. Bisa? Negative 6x over 2. So negative 3x also. Betul ke? Betul. Bisa? Negative 6 so positive 36 equals to 36 minus 12x. Boleh lah? Betul tak saya buat? Betul lah? Betul? Right? Okay, and then what? 36 minus 36 kosong lah. So negative 3, negative 6. So x square over 4 minus 6x plus 12x equals to 0. And I already say I hate fraction. Okay? So samakan times 4. Okay, what's negative 6 plus 12? 6. What's 6 times 4? 24. And then x. So x minus 24. Saya silap lah. Sorry. Saya dah silap. 26 minus 12x. Okay, tak apa. I sambung dulu. So x square over 4 plus 6x equals to 0, right? And then I times 4 times 4. I factorize x, so it becomes x plus 24 here. So x equals to 0, the other x is negative 24. Betul? Okay, I silap already lah. Okay, mana saya silap? Okay, wait, let me check answer lah. So, dekat mana saya silap? X minus 6, 1 over 2. Okay, what is 1 over 2 times 3? 3 over 2 lah. Ayo, Choon Hau. Ayo, sorry. Okay, so there y equals x minus 3 over 2 lah. Okay, so I have to do it again. So sad. Okay, y square equals 36 minus 12x. Okay, sorry saya silap. This one is supposed to times 1 over 2. Means divide 2 lah. I go and write 6. Okay, so careless mistake. Okay, so y equals to x minus 3 over 2 here. Okay, x minus 3 over 2 square. So bawah pun ada square lah, 34. So jadi x square minus 6x plus 9 equals 36 minus 12x. So x square minus 6x plus 9 equals to 4 times 36, 144. 4 times 12, 48x. And then x square minus 6 plus 48 is plus 42x. 9 minus 144 is negative something. 1, okay, use your calculator. What's 144 minus 9? So 135. And then you factorize x. Okay, this is too big. You use your calculator. Hey, wait, I already know one of my answer is 3 already. So it should be simple, right? What's 135 divided 3? 45. And then here is minus, here is plus, and then negative 3. Hey, wait, I stop here. Macam mana saya tahu saya buat salah tadi? How I know like I buat salah tadi? Like why I don't just, I mean if I just continue doing it, I'll get the answer also, even though it's the wrong answer lah. But why I stop there and I suddenly realize that I did something wrong? Because I already know that one of the answers should be 3. Remember just now I already know one of the answers should be 3 because there's 2 intersection points and I already said one of the answers should be 3. That's why I know I did something wrong, right? And here also is wrong actually. Here is plus, here is minus, right? Again, made a mistake again, right? Okay, x should be 3, right? That's why I already know the final answer. Even before doing all of this, I already know one of the answers should be 3. That's why I know I did something wrong just now. Okay? And then I did something wrong again. I go and write negative 3 here, Okay, so this is the answer. So we ignore this one, right? We ignore this one. Because we don't want this, because we already know this. We want the negative one. Okay, the point 1. So this is the one I want. And then now I continue here. I substitute this back into the original equation. So you can substitute this one. Y equals to x minus 3 over 2. So x is what? Negative 45. Negative 48 divided 2. 24. So what's the point R? Negative 45, negative 24. Alright, done. That is the final answer. Next question is number 21. 21, what chapter? So, soalan ni chapter apa? Vector lah. So 21. Diagram 11 shows 21 ke? Okay, yes. Diagram 11 shows the position and direction of two vehicles called drones P and Q. Drone P move in the direction of the wind, drone Q move in the opposite direction of the wind. Okay, I will roughly draw the diagram lah. I cannot draw like that lah. Okay, I'm not Picasso, okay? So I will just draw something like this, wind, and then P, and then Q. Okay, this is my version. Okay, like I want me to draw the whole thing, okay? Okay, so this is my diagram. And then they say what? Drone P moves in the direction of the wind. So wind is going this direction, P also moving this direction. but Q is moving opposite of the direction of the wind. Okay, so the velocity of the wind. So velocity of the wind. So how to write? Velocity of wind. And then I garis, and then I write W equals to I minus 1 over 4J. Okay, I just follow whatever they give. Okay, I just write whatever they give. And then velocity of drone P. Oh, okay. Velocity of P. So what is it? 3I minus J. And this is speed, that's why the unit is ms minus 1. Okay, but I won't write the unit. Okay, velocity of Q pula, dia ada lagi juga. Velocity of Q, what is it? 7I minus 17. Is that 17? Yes, 17 over 8J. Okay, and then done. That's the info they give. And then they say determine how many times. Okay, I started this one. Determine how many times. The resultant velocity of Q compared to P. Means dia nak cari ratio lah. Agree? Means dia nak cari ratio, right? And how many times Q compared to P? Means nak cari ratio lah. So in vector you know how to find ratio, right? Okay, tak apa, kita masuk semua. So macam mana? First of all, you need because they say how many times the resultant velocity of Q compared to resultant velocity of P. So you need the resultant velocity of P. Cari dulu, buat dulu. And then here you also need the resultant velocity of Q. And then what? And then baru you tengok berapa ratio dia. Okay? After you get both answer here and then you see like how many times bigger. Okay, what is the resultant velocity of P? You have to understand one thing. P is moving, how to say, same direction with wind. Maksudnya the velocity of P, it won't be just 3I minus J. You have to plus with the direction, the wind velocity. So I minus 1 over 4J. Faham ke? It means in total, okay? So it will be 3I plus I is 4I. Negative 1 minus 1 over 4 is negative 5 over 4J. Okay, that's the answer. What about resultant velocity of Q? Remember Q is moving opposite the direction, opposite the direction of wind. So velocity of Q is 7I minus 17 over 8J. But you have to take this minus with what? Minus with the velocity of wind, because it is moving opposite direction. Okay, so you have to minus with the velocity of wind. Faham ke? Kalau move with the velocity of wind means the total lah, you have to tambah. But kalau opposite direction of wind, then you have to minus. So 7 minus 1 is 6I. Okay, actually you have to open the bracket first. Okay, you cannot minus like this. You have to open the bracket directly, negative I, and then it's plus. And then I dengan I, what? So 6I. And then negative 8 plus 1 plus 4. Use calculator lah. So what's minus 17 over 8? Okay, what's the answer? 15 minus 15 over 8J. Okay, baca. But this is not what the question one. Determine how many times the resultant of velocity of Q compared to P. So Q equals to how many P? Okay, Q equals to how many P? So what you can do? Tambah K dekat sini lah. Or you can tambah also can, whatever lah, up to you lah, okay? So tambah K lah, okay? So it becomes what? Q is 6I minus 15 over 8J. And then K times P is what? 4KI, 4. Okay, so K, P lah, P is this one. 4I minus 5 over 4J. It means you want to find K lah. K is the ratio. Okay, K is the ratio. So how to do? Don't pindah. Okay, don't go and move to the other side. No. Remember, in vector, jangan pindah. What you do is you want to leave the left hand side and the right hand side alone. Like separate it. and you compare the coefficient only. So 4ki minus 5 over 4 kj. Don't go and start to pindah the 6i and no. Okay? Remember, jangan pindah. Okay? You pindah salah already. So this is vector q, this is vector p with the ratio. So coefficient of I compare with coefficient of I. So 6 equals to 4k. And then coefficient of j compare with coefficient of j. So okay, it's like this. So negative 15 over 8 equals negative 5 over 4k. Tapi you will get the same answer one. Like if you do, actually you don't have to write both, right? So k is what? 3 over 2. What if you do here, you also get 3 over 2? Believe me, okay? Okay, I'll do it for you. Okay, so k what? Negative 15 over 8. Dy 5 over 4 means times 4, 5. The negative don't have to write already, because negative times negative is positive. Potong is 2, potong is 3. So see, it's the same. So you don't have to write that, okay? Write 1 only, write 1 only, okay? So the k is 3 over 2. So what? So come back here. So resultant velocity of q, resultant velocity of q is 3 over 2 times that of resultant velocity of p. Done lah, siap lah. Tu je. Alright. 22. Okay, I erase this first. Okay, 22 is what? This is probability distribution lah. Okay, draw. Okay, 0. So there's a A, there's a B, and then 0.1875, 0.2432, 0.3025, px equals to x. Then is x. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tarik to B. Okay? Then tarik to paling atas. So tarik to here. So tarik. Then tarik until here. Oh. Then A only. Okay. 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 Macam mana? Diagram 12 shows the graph of binomial distribution x. And then this is, I think this, okay, then B 4P. And then express P in terms of A. Okay, tak apa lah, salin the soalan for you again lah. Express P, because PA tanya soalan dia, P in terms of A. Okay, what to do? Ini apa maksudnya? Ini maksudnya sini mean, sini variance. Okay? The 4 is the mean, the P is the variance. But sebenarnya tak penting pun in this because this is binomial. Okay, this is binomial distribution. So actually this one I'll just erase it. Okay? Sebenarnya tak guna, this one tak guna. Okay? Actually we just look at the graph only. So express P in terms of A. Maksudnya apa? I need to form an equation with P and A lah. Betul? I need to have an equation with P and A. So what is Px equals 0? B, right? Px equals 0 is B. Right? Px equals 0 is B. Can you see it? Px equals 0 is B. You just equal saja x 0, masuk lah. Px equals 0 lah. 0 equals B lah. This one, Px equals 1, 0.3025. Px equals 1, this is 0.3025. But I will not write this. I will erase this. Why? Because this one, how you want to do? Px equals to 1.3025. This one, because they want to express P in terms of A. So your equation, your form has to have at least have an unknown. Okay, so this one you won't write. This one also you won't write. This one also you won't write. Okay, this one you can write. Px equals to 4. Px equals to 4 equals to A. Okay? This. Because I want the equation to have an unknown, right? Because they say express P equals to A. So if you write this one like what? It's like writing 1 plus 3 equals to 4. Then what do you want to do with this? Like Px equals to 1 equals to this means they give you all already. Like there's no unknown. So that's why I never choose to write that. I just write this two. So what's the formula? NCR PRQ power n minus r. This is the formula you need to know in the binomial distribution, right? So NC0, the n is 4, the n is 4. How I know? N is 4. It means we only try 4 times again. And then probably a success, probably a failure. Probably a success is P, this one is Q lah. Betul? But I will not write Q, I'll write 1 minus P. Okay, why? Because we only want our equation with P and A. So if you write Q later, more complicated. If it becomes Q nanti, then but by unknown, right? So we only want P in terms of A. So let's just leave like this one, here is 0, here is 4. 4C0 is 1, 0, 1, so 1 minus P power 4 is P. But this doesn't help at all because I want P in terms of A. So let's leave it here. Let's go to here and try. Maybe I'll do something here and then I can help here, right? So let's do it. 4C4 bracket equals to A. So probably a success, probably a failure. Don't write Q, write 1 minus P. So here is 4, here is 0. So bottom. So it's P power 4 equals to A. So finish already, right? So P in terms of A means P equals to, kalau square jadi square root, power 3 jadi cube root, power 4, fourth root. Siap already lah. It means this one useless lah, right? Then useless lah. Okay? Siap already lah. Jangan tak tulis pun tak apa lah. Okay? So siap lah. Done already. Okay, number 23. Because you want P in terms of A, right? What if I change the question? Let's say A in terms of B. Okay, if I want A in terms of B, then you substitute this thing into here. And then you become 1 minus 4th root of A power 4 equals to B. And then you pindah. Supaya dia jadi A in terms of B. Okay. But if they want B in terms of A, then that's the answer already. 23. Bagi graph. Remember I told you before in the probability distribution, there is 2 types of graph. Ada 2 jenis graph. Satu graph X, satu lagi graph Z. Kalau graph Z, mean dia akan kosong, standard deviation 1. But untuk X graph, the mean will not be 0. It depends. So you look at the middle line. Can you see this? The middle line is 0. That's why the mean is 0, right? But for this one, the mean will be 7.4. Okay, the mean will be 7.4. And what with the standard deviation? Usually the question will give you. Okay, usually the soalan will give you the standard deviation. Okay, so let's erase this. Okay, let's read the question. What they want? Diagram 13 shows a distribution graph of the daily pocket money of students in the school. The daily pocket money is normally distributed with a standard deviation of 4. Right? See, I told you right. Usually they will give you a standard deviation. So 4.5. Hey, why they give you mean and standard deviation? For you to change from X to Z, right? So I think you see the word normal already, right? So the daily pocket money is normally distributed. Normal. So you know this is a normal distribution, not binomial distribution. So if this is a normal distribution, take your table. Okay, you have to have the table. You need to use the table. It means later you have to change the X to Z and then use the table to find. Okay, the school has a rule that prohibits students from bringing more than 15 ringgit to the school. If the number of students breaking this rule is roughly 68, determine the number of students in this school. So apa maksudnya? So ada satu peraturan, right? There's a rule that says that you cannot bring more than 15 ringgit to the school. You cannot. Okay? It's against the rules. So you cannot bring more than 15 ringgit to the school. And they say there is 68 students. So number of students that bring more than 15 ringgit, there is 68 students. So the school has a rule that prohibits students from bringing more than 15. The number of students that break this rule is 68. It means number of students that bring more than 15 is 68. And determine the number of students in this school. So number of students means number of total student lah, number of total lah. Ini maksudnya, right? Okay, tak apa, kita buat sama-sama. Macam mana? Okay, how to do? Kalau you nak tahu the number of total, first of all you need a probability because you know the number of students bring more than 15 will be 68 over dengan the total, it will be the probability lah. Because you know the formula for probability is NA over NS, and here it depends on what is the A, right? So the A is the probability of success lah. It can be any event. It can be any event. Let's say A is a probability of even number. Then this will be the number of even, and here will be the total lah. The total. It means number of sample space. But in this case, the A will be the student that bring more than 15. So I'll just write more than 15 lah. And then here will be the more than 15 lah. And here will be the sample space means total lah. And you already know the n number of more than 15 is 68, so you can erase this and write 68 here already. So if you want to find this, you want to find an S, it means you need the probability of students that bring more than 15. It means you need the probability of X more than 15. And then you masuk into here lah. And then you can find NS already. Alright? It means I need the probability here first. So change to Z. Okay? Again, you already see the word normal, right? It means this is a normal distribution. So you need the table. So take out the table. Okay, 15, how to change to Z? Minus mean divide standard deviation. So tekan this first. So 15 minus 7.4 divide 4.5. Okay, 1.6888, but you write 3 decimal place. Okay? So P is bigger than 1.689. You can only read until 3 decimal place. Okay, your katas can only read until 3 decimal place. So this is the first decimal place, second decimal place, 3 decimal place. Okay, so maximum, that's why I write 3 decimal place only. Here is 1 decimal place. So what you do is you go to 1.6 and then you go to 8 departure, right? So what's 1.68? So take out 1.68. My table is too small. 0.0465. And then you look at here, the third decimal place is 9, right? So you budget loss in. Okay, and then what's the number there? So 0.0465 minus 9, right? So when you minus 9, bukan minus macam tu lah. The minus 9 is minus the last 2 digit. So what you can do, you just tekan 465 minus 9. What's 465 minus 9? You tekan lah, 465 minus 9, 456. So it becomes 0.0456. It means that you actually minus 0.0009. Okay, okay. So double check lah. Okay. Ya, betul. Okay. So inilah jawapannya 0.0456. But ini bukan jawapan lah. Dia nak cari number of total student. So remember the formula I show you here just now. So this is the probability of A. So the probability now is 0.0456. So can I find the total now? Yes, I can. Just pindah jadi darab 0.0456 equals to 68, and then the NS will be this one lagi this one lah. So 68 divide 0.0456. 1491.2281. Okay, banyak lah number. So berapa student? Because this one is number of student, right? So 1491.22, it means the 0.22 we don't count as one person lah. We only take 1491 only. So this is the total number. Okay, hope you understand. Next question, number 24. Okay, how long I've been talking? I also don't know. Okay, I think it's already, I don't know lah. To be honest, I don't know. I think it's 3 hours already. Okay, let me draw the diagram first. Okay, this. Ayo, how to draw? Okay, I can teach kepentingan seni already. Oh, look at my drawing skills. Uyo. Nanti ada please. Okay. 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 Siap. Diagram 14.1 shows the logo formed by using a few squares. Oh, so they are all squares, so it should be equal side lah. The squares are from, okay, wrong spelling. It should be from. So the form by using a piece of wire with a length of 3 meter. So 3 meter is the what? The length of wire we have. Okay. So okay, I will write down first. This one later is useful one, so I write it down first. So I can write wire 3 meter. Okay. So later I know I have this information. And then the design of the logo is formed by putting the bigger square on top of the smaller square. Each addition of the bigger square will form a few triangles in the logo. Oh, so all these squares, I arrange it, I put it in a special way, like this, to form a logo. So I have the small square, I put like this, and then this one, I put it like here, and then like this. Okay, so this is how I design the logo. And then given that the length of side of the smaller square is 2 cm, and then increase by 2, so this is 4, this is 6, so this will form a progression. So I can write down the progression for the length, or you can write side also. So it will be 2, 4, 6, blah blah blah, so on. So the A is 2, the D is 2, because every time you plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. And then they say, state whether the length of wire is able to form a logo with 56 triangles. Give a reason. Okay, I was starting to solve for this also. Okay, state whether wire is enough to form 56 triangles. Where you go? Reason. Okay, macam mana? So, first of all, you need to form a new progression here. For the new progression, you have to write down the, okay, I got it. The number of triangles, and then form a new progression. Okay, saya nak tanya awak, when you put the first square here, ada triangle tak? When you put the first triangle like this, put the first square, did you see any triangle? There's no triangle here. But when you put the second one, you can see there's 4 triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4. It means that I start with 4 triangles. And then if I put a division, there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 triangles. Okay? And then if I put again, how many triangles? 1, 2, 3, 4, and don't forget to include the previous one. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it means if I put the next one, it will be plus 4 plus 4, it will be 16. So the A is 4, the D is 4 also. And you have to be careful because when you put the first square, no triangles are formed. The 4 triangles here is when two squares. This one is 3 squares. Okay, 3 squares. Okay, when it's 2 square, baru ada 4 triangle. And then 3 square. This one is 4 square. Okay, for that one, just keep that in mind for now, because later it will affect your answer. But nanti kita berapa? Okay, state whether wire is enough to form 56 triangle. So first, what I need to do, I need to know that the 56 triangle is T what first. Okay, I need to know is T berapa. It means how many squares. And then baru saya tengok, because I know I only have 3 meter, right? So then later I compare, is it enough or not? So first of all, I need to find out Tn equals to 56, and then I need to know that kalau nak form 56 triangle, kena ada berapa square, kena ada letak berapa square dulu. So kalau sini, kalau letak 2 square ada 4, letak 3 square ada 8, kalau letak 4 square ada 12. So kalau saya nak 56, nak letak berapa triangle? So Tn equals 56. So A plus n minus 1, D equals to 56. The A is 4, the n minus 1 is n kita nak cari lah. So 4 ini. So if you have 4n minus 4, 56 minus 4 is 52, and then n is, here is 56, 14. So 14. But this is T14. Maksudnya berapa square yang saya kena letak? When you put the 1 square, there's a 0 triangle. When you put 2 square, you can see 2 square ada 4 triangle. Okay? And then when you put 3 square, you will see 8 triangle. Right? When you put 3 square, 8 triangle. When you put 4 square, you will get 12 triangles. So I want to ask you, when you put 14 square, berapa triangle? Sorry, I mean, when you put, okay, the n is 14, it means what? It means the 14 is the number. It means 56 is here. Alright? And n is 14. It means this is T14. So if this is T14, this is T1, this is T2, this is T3, this is T4, this is T14. Maksudnya macam mana? Can you see that T1 is 2 square, T2 is 3 square, T3 is 4 square. It means I have to plus 1. Betul? If T1, 2 square, T2, 3 square, T3, 4 square. If T14, 15 square. Okay? So, n equals 14. I know n is equals to 14. But remember, we skip the first square. Remember? Because when we put the first square, there is no triangle. That's why you have to be careful. It means after you find the n 14, I know this is T14. But actually this one is just 15 square. This is 15 square. Because we skipped the first one already. So 15 square. So you know that now, in order to form 56 triangles, I need to put 15 square inside. I need to put 15 square. 15 square. And then now the soalan tanya state whether the wire is enough to form 15 square. So is the wire enough to form 15 square? You find the perimeter. You find the perimeter. Okay, the perimeter. What will be the perimeter of the first square? 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. So 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times 4, 16. 6 times 4, 24. Okay, you times 4 because 4 sides. So A equals to 8. D is also the 8. So you find the S15. You find S15. Because you want to know all the 15 squares, the perimeter all add together. Why not S14? I already mentioned. Why not S14? Because this one is when 1 square, 2 square, 3 square. So find S15. Faham? Walaupun sini 14, but this actually means like you put 15 square. So we skip the first one already. Okay, that's why. So S15. So n over 2 and then 2a plus n minus 1d. Okay, 15 over 2. Here is 16. Here is what's 14 times 8? Tekan lah. 14 times 8. 112 and then plus 16. 112 plus 16. And then times 15 divided 2. 960. So this will be in meter. Okay, what's the unit here? I think it's cm, right? Yeah, cm. Sorry, cm. But I have 3 meter of wire. The wire I have is 3 meter. Let's convert that into cm. So times 100, so 300 cm. So can you tell me 300 cm is the wire enough? If I want to form enough ke? Cukup tak cukup, right? So what do you write for the answer? State whether wire is enough to form 56 triangle? No. Because what? Because the length of wire, comma, which is 300 cm, is not enough to form 56 triangles. It's not enough to form because again. Okay, I can write the length. Okay, no. The length of wire, which is 300 cm, is not enough to form 56 triangles because it requires 960 cm to form 15 squares. Okay, I hope you are not confused with what I write here. Okay? Because in order to form 56 triangle, you need to have 15 square, and in order to have 15 square, you need this amount of wire. Okay? But only have 300 cm. So no, because the length of wire 300 cm is not enough to form 56 triangles. It's not enough. Because if you want to form 56 triangles, you need to form 15 square, which requires 960 cm. Okay? Done? 25. Okay, finally last question. Okay. How long I've been talking? I also forgot what time I start. Okay. I think it's going to be a 3-hour video. Ayo. Okay, 25. So, island, mountain, shopping area. So, Manukan Island, and then Mahute Island, and then Sapi Island, Gaya Island. Okay, I'll throw in Gaya. Then Kinabalu Mountain. Then Drusmadi. Then Emas, Mountain Emas. Then shopping area. So Tamu Kota Belu, and then Tamu Gaya Street, and Tamu Tuaran. Actually, the name is not important here, okay? The name is not important here, okay? You just have to see how many you have, right? So island, there is 4. Mountain, there's 3. Shopping area, there's 3. Okay? Okay, let's read the question together. Table 2 shows the tourism areas in Sarawak. Oh, rupanya these are all tourist spot. It means tempat pelancongan. So these are the islands, the mountain, the shopping area. And then they say the company plans to form a travel package. So they want to form a travel package. And the travel package mesti ada, they will tell you something they will give you some info. So travel package which consists of 5 tourism areas. Okay, travel package needs to have 5 areas. So 5 areas. So find the number of different travel packages that can be formed if there is no restriction. So A is no restriction. Okay, I will straight away sign the soalan for B here. So package must consist of all categories and at least 2 shopping areas. Okay. How many in total do you have? 4 plus 3 plus 3, so it's how many options? 10, right? 4 plus 3 is 7, 7 plus 3 is 10. So 10 different tourism spots. I need 5 areas. So 10C5 lah. 10C5. It means that no restriction means 5 island pun boleh. Oh, it's impossible to do 5 island because there's only 4 island. It means that macam mana pun boleh, right? Like island 4, 1 mountain boleh, ataupun mountain 3, 2 mana-mana boleh, campur pun boleh, tak campur pun boleh, like it's up to you. It means no restriction. It means nak campur macam mana pun up to you. So it's 10C5 because no restriction. So you tekan, you get answer 200 something. Yeah, 252. So B, the package must consist of all categories. The package must consist of all categories. It means that in these 5 areas, you should include island, mountain, at least 1 lah. It means mesti ada satu island, at least satu mountain, and at least satu shopping area. This is what it means, all categories. And at least 2 shopping area. Okay, macam mana? At least 2 shopping area. Maksudnya 2 shopping area also include lah. Ataupun 3 shopping area. Okay? So, kalau 2 shopping area, maksudnya I can choose how many? Kalau if you want to cukupkan 5, you can choose 3 more, right? And the 3 it can be what? It can be 1, 3, 1, 2, ataupun 2, 1. Okay, sorry. Because shopping area cannot. Because we're talking about 2 shopping area, so it should be 1, 2 like here, and then 2, 1, and then 3, 0, ataupun 0, 3 like this. Faham ke? Okay, so it can be 2 shopping area, 1 island, 2 mountain. Faham ke? Faham apa saya buat? It means that nak cukupkan 5, you can 2 shopping area and then 1 island, and then 2 mountain. Right? Ataupun it can be 2 shopping area here, 2 shopping area, this one. Okay, 2, 1. So island 2. So 2 island and then 1 mountain. Because I want to cukupkan 5, right? Okay, saya nak tanya, the 3 and 0, I won't do it. I cannot do it. Do you know why? Okay, if you put 3 island, 0 mountain, it means that you don't have, the package does not include the mountain. But look here, the package must consist of all categories. They already say, mesti in the package at least have, mesti ada at least 1 island, 1 mountain and 1 shopping area like this. So we cannot take the 3, 0 and the 0, 3. So it's only this and this. I hope you understand. Okay, what I'm doing. At least 2 shopping area ma. So 2 shopping area, you get 1 island, 2 mountain, atau 2 island, 1 mountain. Okay, but they say at least, it means 3 shopping area can also. Correct? 4 shopping area can also. 5 shopping area can also. But there's only 3 shopping area. How can you 3 and choose 4? It will be math error. Okay? So we only take 2 and 3 only. Okay, what if I choose 3 shopping area here? If I choose 3 shopping area here, it means that this and this should be 1, 1. You found? Because nak cukupkan 5. If you want to cukupkan 5, it should be 1 island, 1 mountain. Okay. What if 0 island, 2 mountain? Cannot. Because they say the package must consist of all categories. If you do it like this, means you are not including the island, so cannot. Same, kalau like this also cannot. Because like this you are not including one. So ini saja possibility here. Okay? Okay, what about 4? Because they say at least right 4. Okay, if you choose 4, you get math error. Okay, you get math error. Tak apa. Because there's only 3. There's only 3 shopping area. How can you choose? There's only 3, but you want to choose 4. It will be math error, so cannot. Okay, now I just have to bracket, and then plus. Okay, from 3, I want to choose 2, so 3C2. 1 island, I choose from 4. Okay, actually you can just tengok sini, lebih senang. 4 choose 1. And then 2 mountain, so mountain is 1, right? 3 choose 1. Choose 2. Okay, so choose 2, choose 1, choose 2. So times. And you can double check, all these numbers add together should equal to 5, 1. Because we want to choose 5, we want to choose 5. And then shopping, choose 2. So 3, there's 3, but you choose 2. This one 2i means 4 ada 4, but you only choose 2. This one 1 mountain, so mountain ada 3. So you choose 1, right? Because 1 mountain. This one 3 shopping, so shopping 3, so 3C3 times. Okay, 1 island, so island ada 4, so 4C1 times mountain is 3, so 3C1. Okay, calculator. Where's my calculator? Okay. So you clear all of this, you get the final answer. So 3C2 times with 4C1 times with 3C2. So 36. Next, 3C2 times 4C2 times 3C1, 54. Next, 3C3 times 4C1 times 3C1, 36. So, what's semua tambah? 126. Alright? Let me check the answer. Is it correct? Alright, silap. Mana silap? Okay, let's start again. 3C3. Then it's 12. So, plus 54 plus 26. Okay, 102. Okay, so that's all.